Oh, hello. I don't know what I'm sitting up to. How y'all doing today? First Monday of the year. Hope everybody had a wonderful new year. Maybe you set some resolutions, maybe you didn't. Actually, that's going to come up in the lesson tonight. So if you did set some resolution, I think I got a lesson that'll help you get those resolutions, I don't know what you call it, accomplished, I guess. That would be the word. I'll give a couple minutes, see if we get a couple people in here. If not, I will go ahead and get started. Get all my stuff set up. Weird. Give it about one more minute, and then I'm gonna get this party started. My wife made me some tea and she made this pink cup. She thinks she's funny, but I'm gonna sip it. Stop. Ooh, still too hot. I'm gonna wait for a few seconds to sip it. I'll take the cup off. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and those gonna join will join at some point. If not, we're just gonna keep the party going. But I thank y'all for being here this day on this Monday, January the 3rd, first Monday of 2022. Again, I hope y'all had a wonderful New Year. Your New Year have started off wonderfully. Mine has. I started off doing I was able to, in just these first 3 days, I've done a lot for the Lord. So that's the best way to start your year off. So I hope you guys have had the same good beginning to the year. Of course, I'm John Stewart on behalf of River Lake Baptist Church, on behalf of the Lost Sheep Ministries. And I'm here to bring you a lesson tonight that, like I said earlier, I think is going to help you with your New Year's resolution. A lot of, New Year's is a time that people make all kind of resolutions. They're always making these promises to themselves that they're gonna do better. This is gonna be my year. I'm gonna do better this year. I'm gonna achieve this goal that I've had set for the last few years. I'm gonna achieve it this year. We always make these resolutions to start off the year with. And the thing is, a lot of times by the time the year ends, we're still in the exact same position that we was in when we started the year. We never did really get that resolution accomplished. We never did really get that thing done. And that's why I think this lesson tonight is wonderful. It's just the timing on it is perfect. Of course, y'all know we've been going through the book of Judges and over the last few weeks, and we're going through the series of sermons called The Vicious Cycle. And we've been looking at this cycle that the Israelites went through as they went through the book of Judges, and of course, where's my little sticky note at? And the cycle has been this, and it's going to come up a little bit tonight, but tonight is not going to be focused more on the cycle. It's kind of a lesson within the lesson, so to speak. But the cycle has been humbleness, blessings, humbleness. The Israelites, they start off humble. Then because they was humble, they got the blessings. And then after they got their blessings, they got kind of comfortable and relaxed, and they went into apathy. And then the apathy led to destruction. How you doing, Sister Rhonda? I'm glad you can make it. I didn't know if you're going to make it in tonight or not, but I appreciate you being here. So that's the thing that we've been discussing. And like I said, tonight we're not going to focus as much on the vicious cycle. Of course, some elements of it is going to be there, but tonight is kind of a side story within these lessons that we've been going through over this vicious cycle. So again, like I said, I'm Brother John on behalf of River Lake Baptist Church and representing the Lost Sheep Ministry. Now I want to bring you this lesson tonight that I think if you want those people that have started the new year, like I said, I hope your new year has been good and you made these resolutions. I'm going to help you see, hopefully this lesson will help you see why you don't a lot of time accomplish your resolution. A lot of people start off with resolutions, and then they never do get those resolutions accomplished. And I believe it's because even though they have good intentions, their heart is always remains in the same place. Their heart never really changes. And that's why it's so hard for them to stick with those resolutions that they started off this year with. If your life, and some got to understand, if your life is going to change, because that's most of these resolutions are. They're like life-changing things. Some people might choose weight. Some might choose relationships. Some might choose, their occupation. I'm going to change something this year. I'm going to change some big thing this year, and that's going to change my life. And what you got to understand that if you're going to change your life, then you have to change your loyalty. If your life is going to change, then your loyalties are also going to have to change. And that's where I think a lot of people fall short at, and that's why they can't get their resolutions accomplished, because they want to change their life. They have like I said, their intentions are good. They want to make this change, but they never do change the things that they're loyal to, so they can get these changes, so these changes will be apparent in their life. See, that's what, if you get into one of my favorite verses, y'all have heard me quote before. One of my favorite verses is Matthew 6:33. He says, in Matthew 6:33, he says this: "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all the rest of these things shall be added unto you." So, of course, what this is talking about, that's exactly what it's talking about. Where do your loyalties lie? And that's what you have to understand. If you really want to make a change, you're going to have to change your loyalties. And you're going to have to change those loyalties from the things of this world to the things of God. And that's what Matthew 6:33 is telling us. Hey, make God your priority. Make the things of God. Be loyal to the things of God. And if you're loyal to the things of God, then guess what? God is going to be loyal to you. So all those things that you want to get by doing all the things that you're doing, if you just be loyal to God and the things that he has for you to do, then guess what? You will be able to get those things. He will grant you access to those things. And I got me a little tired. Y'all can hear my voice still ain't 100%. It's getting there, but I'm still got to get my vocals back right a little bit. My wife made me this tea. She put in this pink cup. She thought she was being funny, but it's all right. I'm gonna sip on it anyway. Oh, still kind of hot. So I'm going to have to sip that slow. So again, that's what Matthew 6:33 is saying. It's saying that, again, we got to change our loyalty. If you're going to change your life, you have to change your loyalties. And y'all know I'm coming up on my 18-year anniversary when I gave my life to the Lord 18 years ago. That'll be February, the middle of February. And of course, when I did that, basically what I did was I changed my loyalties. I went from living for myself and doing things for myself to living for the Lord and doing things for the Lord. And that's how you accomplish your resolutions. You're not going to, you can, like I said, you can make a resolution, and it's a good thing to set goals for yourself. But you got to understand, if you make those resolutions and you really want to make a change in your life, you also have to change the things that you are loyal to. One of my loyal members that's here just about every week, he hasn't popped up yet, but I assume he'll pop up at some point during the video. But a guy named Patrick I went to high school with, and actually he put a statement, a meme. I don't know if it was a meme and that he posted, or maybe it's actual comment. I don't know, but he made a comment on that I saw the day after I did my last lesson, and it actually sets us up for this lesson. I'm like, man, this perfectly go with this lesson. But the comment that he made, he posted on his Facebook page. It says this. What is it? I wrote it down. Oh yeah, he said, "You can't keep asking God to heal you, but still stay loyal to what's killing you." That if you think about what he's saying there, that's a major comment there. There's a powerful statement there. Again, he said, and I know he'll be in sometimes he takes a nap and he comes in a little later and I'll mess with him when he comes in. But he said, he posted this on his page and I put amen on there. But he put, you can't keep asking God to heal you, but still stay loyal to what's killing you. And that's what we do. We don't realize we do that. We'll go to God, Lord, I need this thing. I need you to heal me from this thing. That's a great statement. And we don't realize we do it. Because we go to God and ask God for healing. We ask God for, to take this problem out of our lives. We ask God to send us in this direction, send us in that direction. But yet, when we ask God for these things, we don't make a change ourselves. We expect God to just take all these things out of our life and put us on the path, but we got to realize we got to change the things we're loyal to. The reason why we in these situations is because we've been loyal to the wrong things. And that's what we're going to see here today. It goes again to that's what Hebrews. If you go over to Hebrews chapter 2, I'm sure throw a few extra verses in here today, but that's kind of essentially what Hebrews 12:1 is talking about as well. That's what Hebrews 12:1 is talking about as well. Because over in Hebrews 12:1 it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily hinders our progress. And let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, on whom our faith depends from start to finish. See, that's exactly what he's saying right there. That's what he's saying. And that's kind of, he said, you can't keep asking God for to heal you, but stay loyal to what's killing you. And Hebrews 12:1 is saying, that's what you got to do. You know what I'm saying? Keep your eyes on Jesus and get rid of all the things that's going to hinder your progress. You want a close relationship with the Lord, then there's some things you're going to have to get rid of in your life. You know what I'm saying? There's some things you're going to have to change your loyalties. There's some things that you've been loyal to that got you in the situation that you're in now that you're going to have to change your loyalties and get away from those things. And that's what Hebrews 12, like I said, 12:1 is saying exactly that. The stuff that so easily beset us, we got to get rid of those things. But we don't want to because we like those things, because our flesh wants those things. So we keep giving into those things, not realizing it's those things that's keeping us from accomplishing our goals. It's those things, the lesson we did for the last few weeks been on Gideon, knowing your worth. It's those things that keep us from really living up to our full potential. It's those things that keep us from really seeing our true value and knowing our true worth. Because you got to understand, you can't make a resolution to be a better person this year, but continue to do the exact same things you did last year. It's not going to happen. That's what insanity is. And I see it so much, especially within in church and people that's trying to have a close Christian walk. They want to do better, and they really do want to do better, but yet they keep doing the exact same thing that they was doing. They don't make a change. There has to be some kind of change there. When we go out and we talk to people about the Lord and, we lead people to the Lord, a lot of times, sometimes you see people and they seem to be doing the exact same thing that they were doing before you let them, Lord, even though they said they were saved. And, and of course, that's between them and God. I can't never judge them. But when you truly get saved, when the Lord really gets a hold of your heart, there's going to be some kind of change. It might be a minor change. It might take some little time, but eventually you are going to change. There's going to be some change. And the reason why you're going to change, because your loyalties is going to switch. So when you were doing things for yourself and living for yourself, you was loyal to certain things. But when you get to doing stuff for God, you're going to be loyal to the things of God. So that's what you got to understand. That's why a lot of time, like I told y'all, we're going to start off. This lesson just, like I said, this is perfect time. This is something God definitely set up, this lesson, because that's exactly what we're talking about if you saw the title, Misplaced Loyalties. And that's what I said. You can't ask God to bless you. You can't ask God to put you in a better situation, but yet you don't make a change yourself. You continue to stay loyal to the same things that you were doing that got you in the situation you was in. So I was just some examples I was thinking about, for the introduction. And this is the thing that people, most of the time when they make resolutions, because people make resolutions about all kinds of things, but these are the ones you hear the most. A lot of times you hear about, and this is something I've been seeing on Facebook, since 2022 started. I've seen so many memes. Oh man, this year I'm, Xing people out of my life, and I'm getting negative people out of my life and negative situations out of my life. I've seen several memes that's kind of, saying that, hey, this year I'm not going to be around the same people doing the same thing. But you can't say I'm removing negative situations and negative people out of my life, but still stay loyal to the same ones that you've been that's been holding you back the whole time. You can't do that, whether it's family or good friends. And a lot of times we stay so loyal to these people, because they're family, which that's going to come up tonight, or because they're good friend. Man, there was one time I was hungry and this dude bought me a $2 cheeseburger from McDonald's. So I even though I know he's bad for me, I gotta stay loyal to him. You can't do that. You see it so many times. You see women and men in bad relationships, bad situation, bad relationship, and they seem to go from one bad relationship to another bad relationship, or get out of a bad relationship and then go back to that same person that was bad for them in the first place. Why? Because they're staying loyal to the wrong things. You can't ask God to remove, or you can't say you're going to remove things, negative people and things out of your life, but yet stay loyal to those negative people, those negative situations. It's not going to happen. And that's one of the main, the resolution I've been seeing all on my Facebook page. Oh, I'm getting rid of some people this year. I ain't talking to the same people this year. And yet you see at the end of the year, they still talk to the same people. Why? Because they stayed loyal to those people, even though they knew those people wasn't good for them. Another one that's being everybody, I know just about everybody, if you've struggled with your weight, you've done this, you've made this resolution before. Man, this year I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to lose some weight and I'm going to get into shape this year. This is going to be my year. I'm going to lose some weight and get into shape. And people say that, but you got to understand, you can't say that I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to get into shape and I'm going to end the year in better shape and still stay loyal to the same food and drinks that got you in the shape that you in the first place. You know what I'm saying? And won't go and be more loyal to healthier foods and a healthier lifestyle. If you say that this is going to be your resolution, if you really are going to go and get yourself in better shape and get yourself in better health, then again, your loyalty is going to have to change. That junk food and that fast food that you've been shoving in your body all these years, you can't be loyal to that anymore. You got to get away from this stuff. Those drinks, whether it's alcohol or just carbonated sodas and drinks, you got to get away from this stuff. If you keep on drinking that stuff, then guess what? You're going to stay in the same situation that you was in. See, again, if you want that change, if you really want to make a change, then your loyalties is going to have to change as well. And people don't understand that. So they say they want to change, but yet they still stay loyal and stay eating and drinking the same stuff that got them in the situation they was in. The perfect example that this young lady that started working with me. Finally got me somebody, a helper, that started working with me, and she's working on her weight and stuff. And we're just talking about some of the things that I've done to get my weight down or whatnot. And I told her, I said, and I noticed she drinks like a lot of coffee and drinks and stuff like that. And I told her, I said, there's a lot of carbonated beverages. And I told her, I said, one of the main things that you can do is start drinking more water. You gotta start drinking more water. Like all those, even if it's, sugar free or 0 calorie, you need water. Water is like the main chemical component of speeding up your metabolism. Matter of fact, your metabolism, how fast your metabolism goes and how much it burns depends on how much water you got in your body. So if you come to putting all this carbonated mess in there and all these dyes and all this other stuff in there, then it's going to slow your metabolism down, and it's going to be hard for you to make that change, to lose that weight that you need to. So me and her talked about it, and we just had a discussion one day, and I didn't even really think nothing of it. We just kind of got in discussion. And then a couple of weeks ago, she told me, she's like, hey, I'm taking your advice. And I saw she had a cup and had water. She said, just to let you know, I'm taking your advice. She said, I still got to have my coffee. And she said, it was something else. She said, I still got to have that. She said, but I don't drink sodas and carbonated drinks as much as I used to. So see, she realized that what I was telling her was, I was giving her wisdom. And she realized that if she really did want to get this weight down, she's going to have to make that change. And she did. She made a change. And of course, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time, but her loyalties are starting to change. And I wouldn't be surprised if she do stay loyal to it and continue down that path. She'll start losing the weight that she wants to lose. But she's changed her loyalties. She went from the carbonated beverages and all these dyes and sugars that are in the beverage she normally drinks. They're going to drinking water, which is what the body needs. Another one Another example of people, the resolution that people always make. They always say, oh man, this year I'm going to clean myself up and I'm going to get myself together. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to clean myself up and get myself together this year. And, this is going to be a better year for me. And they say that, but yet they stay loyal to the same alcohol and drugs that got them in the situation they're in. You know what I'm saying? The same alcohol, the drugs that keep them going in and out of jail. The same alcohol and drugs that keep them from getting a job so they can provide for themselves and their family so they don't have to do things that they shouldn't be doing. You see what I'm saying? You can't say, I'm going to clean myself up and be a better person this year if you stay loyal to the same alcohol that keeps getting you in trouble. You can't say that I'm going to clean myself up this year and end this year a better person if you stand loyal to the same drugs that keeps you going back and forth from jail. To keep you going, what's going on, Drake? I'm glad you can join, man. I appreciate you being here, brother. But again, you can't be talking about loyalty, misplaced loyalty. I'm just giving some examples. So again, if you really want to clean yourself up, if you really want to get your life, that's one of your resolutions. If you struggling with drugs and alcohol and substance abuse and things of that nature, and you really want to change your life, you really want to get yourself together, then guess what? You got to stay loyal. You got to change your loyalties. You got to stop being loyal to the things that are hurting you, the things that are hurting, keeping you behind, like we was talking about over there, the things that so easily beset you, like we was talking about over there in Hebrews, and start being more loyal to things that's going to keep you out of those situations. You know what I'm saying? Do something else with it. That time you would spend drinking or smoking and doing whatever drugs you're doing, do something else positive with that time. Read your Bible instead. You get the urge to go smoke you a cigarette or smoke you a joint or if you're doing herb, shoot you some herb. Instead, try to read your Bible. Get closer to God. Be loyal to the things of God, because that's the only way you're going to change that, really be able to stand up, keep that resolution and change, is about changing your loyalties. You cannot strain yourself up. You cannot be a better person, strain yourself up, get yourself back on the right path, staying loyal to the same things that's keeping you there. And this is another. Now, this is not one that I hear often, but this is what, if we're going to make a resolution, this is a resolution. This is the same one I make every year. If you saw my page, I made it again this year. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you don't see people say this when they might say, again, they're going to get negative people out of it and have better relationship. They might say, I'm going to lose weight this year and get in better shape. They might say, I'm going to get myself off drugs and alcohol and become a better person. But you hardly ever hear people say, you know what? I'm going to build my relationship with God. That's my resolution, to have a close relationship with God this year. And that's the resolution. Those are the kind of resolutions you should be making. And that's the one I make every year. A guy asked me last week, and you saw it on my page, like, man, what's your New Year resolution? It's the same one I have every year. I want to have a closer walk with God this year and have more of the Holy Spirit, have more of me this year than I had last year. I want to have a closer walk with God this year than I had last year. I want to do more for God this year than I did last year. But of course, again, if I'm going to do that, if that's your resolution, if you're going to do that, then guess what? There's going to be some loyalties that's going to have to change in order for it to happen. I can't say that I'm going to have a close relationship with God, you know what I'm saying, with God this year than I had last year, but then I stay more loyal to my job than I do to the things of God. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that I'm going to have a close relationship with God this year than I had last year, and I stay more loyal to my extracurricular activities than I do the things of God. Your loyalties are going to have to change. And sometimes our loyalties are misplaced, and that's why we continue to stay in bad situations. That's why we can never truly elevate and get to live up to our full potential. That's why we could never do as much for God as we can, because we stay loyal to our extracurricular activities. We stay loyal to our job. I can't tell you how many times, y'all know, I've mentioned 7 times before, every Saturday I go out and I knock on doors, talk to people about the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And one of the questions is, I don't just jump straight into, Jesus, are you saved? Because people, it's weird, just a one simple question. Before that, it opens people up. But if you just go straight into, you say, you're going to heaven, people think you crazy, they don't want to talk to you. So I always start, whenever people answer the door, I always start off saying, hey, I'm John Stewart, River Lake Baptist Church, and I'm just out in the area telling people about church. Are you currently going to church or involved in the kind of church right now? That's always my first question. And then depending on how they answer that question, depends on how I go about asking them if they saved. But when I ask people that question, I can't tell you how many times. I would say, honestly, probably about 70 to 80% of the time when people are not going to church, their main reason for not going to church is, oh, I work too much. I'm always at work. Oh man, I work 2-3 jobs. I can't get to church. See what I'm saying? So what they're telling me is they're more loyal to their job. They're more loyal to making money than they are to the things of God. And you can't be loyal to the things of this world and making money. You can't be more loyal to that and not as loyal to the things of God and expect for things to work out good for you. It's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes I tell people, always say, oh man, no, I just work too much and I just can't get there. Something I've learned. A man is always, this is one of the main things I learned since I started serving the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And I don't bash people over the head with it, but it's the truth. A man or a woman is always going to do what they really want to do. If you really want to be loyal to serving the Lord and having a close relationship with God, no matter how much you work, you're going to do what you need to do to get to church on Sundays. You're going to do what you need to do to read your Bible every day. You're going to do what you need to do to make sure you have some prayer time set up to worship the Lord every day, to talk to the Lord every day, if that's what you really want to do. See, if you don't have time for that, then guess what? That means you're not being loyal to it. And you're loyal to all these other things because you're making time for those other things. You're going to make time for whatever it is that you're loyal to. If you're loyal, if you're loyal to making money and living the thing, having the nice things of this world, then you're going to make time for your job. You're going to make time for going in and watching football games and basketball games or whatever thing that you do to occupy your time. If you're loyal to those things, you're going to do that. I see people all the time boasting on, oh man, I got season ticket to the Titans. You know, I don't miss a game. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you're like, man, but do you go to church? Oh man, I work too much, go to church. See, they loyal to the Titans, you know what I'm saying, and football, NFL, but they won't be loyal to the things of God. And you're not going to be able to have a close relationship if you don't change your loyalty. So that's what I want. That's what this lesson is going to talk about today. And it's actually going to be a 2-part lesson. Tonight is more of introduction to we're going to see how the loyalties are misplaced as we go through. We're going to see how they're going to misplace their loyalties and put their loyalties into the wrong thing. And then the next lesson we're going to do, because it's just too much here to cover it all tonight. And then the next lesson we'll finish it up next week, and we're going to see the results of them putting their loyalties into the wrong place. So I'm going to go ahead and pray, and then we're going to jump into this. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us tonight. Thank you so much for this wonderful lesson. Like I said, one of my members inspired me to put this lesson together, and it just worked out perfect. Because this is the next chapter. I didn't skip ahead to get to this chapter just so I can do this lesson. This was the chapter that was up for today. It's chapter 9, because we finished up chapter 8 next week. But it just happened to be perfect timing, because there's so many people right now, with it being the new year, they saying new year, new me, and they just making all these resolutions, and they got all these plans to make themselves better than they were the year before, but yet they're not going to really change their heart. They're not really going to change the places that they loyalties lie, and therefore it's going to be hard for them to do these things that they want to do. I have no doubt in my mind that they really have the intention of doing these things, but they got to realize if they don't change their loyalties, it's going to be hard for them to accomplish the resolution they set for themselves. So I pray that with your word tonight, I thank you for letting your spirit put this lesson on my heart, and I pray that from this this lesson that we're going to go through tonight, that you will help them see where their loyalties are, and help them to be able to see that possibly the loyalties they have are misplaced, and give them the want to change their loyalties so they can make themselves better people, so they can live up to their full potential, but more important, so they can have a close relationship with you. So I ask you to send your spirit down upon me as I go through this lesson. Send your spirit down upon the hearts of those that are attending this lesson with me, whether they're watching now or later. I know I'm joining my people, they watch later, but whether they're watching now live or later, I pray you be with them, touch their hearts, Lord, so if they have some misplaced loyalties in their life, they will see it, they will have the wisdom to see it and change their loyalties so they can live up to their full potential and do the work that you have for them to do. Just watch over me as I go through this tonight, and I say this prayer in your wonderful Son, Jesus' name. Amen. So again, tonight, when we look at this lesson, again, it's called Misplaced Loyalties. And so tonight, when we look at this lesson, we're going to see the inevitable destruction. And of course, we're going to get to that later, but the inevitable destruction that comes about when you place your loyalties in the wrong people, the wrong places, or wrong things. And that's what we're going to see tonight. Like I said, the first half of the chapter, we're going to see these people, they're going to have loyalties, but they're going to place their loyalties, they're going to make a choice to place their loyalties into a certain places, people, or things, but we're going to see how them placing their loyalties in the wrong place is going to eventually end in their destruction. So we're going to be in Judges, like I said, chapter 9, the exact lesson that we're going to be in tonight anyway. Get another sip of my tea. I hope this calm down a little bit. Oh, it's still hot. And I guess because she got it in this thermal mug, it's going to probably stay hot. But I guess this is what I need. I got to get my voice back to 100% so I can get back to my angelic singing that I do all the time. So again, we're going to be in chapter 9 tonight. We're going to do a little bit the last paragraph. Actually, the last paragraph of chapter 8 is going to be a segue into chapter 9 and the lesson that we have here tonight. So, of course, I'm going to read out the King James. I'm reading. I'm a King James believer, but I'm reading out the New Living Translation for my ministry because my ministry is for the lost sheep. I just want to make sure people understand what's being said without me having to come and explain every single thing. Because sometimes it's hard to do that. It's hard to understand the King James version. So I'm going to read out the New Living Translation just to help my people understand. So again, tonight's topic is called Misplaced Loyalties. And it's good. Like I said, it's good. You definitely want to be loyal. Loyal is a good character to have. But you want to make sure you're loyal to the right things. You want to make sure you're loyal to the right people. You want to make sure you're loyal to the right cause. You want to make sure you're loyal to the right places and not just being loyal just for the simple fact of being loyal. And we're going to see here, well, we're going to see, we're going to start off, and like I said, we're going to start in chapter 8, the last few verses of chapter 8, the last little paragraph in chapter 8 in my Bible, 33, I believe, through 35. So watch this. It says, so as soon as Gideon was dead, the Israelites prostituted themselves by worshiping the images of Baal, making Baal Berith their god. And they forgot the Lord their God, who had rescued them from all their enemies surrounding them. Now, of course, that was the point number one when we started that lesson on Gideon. That was one of the main points. That was point number one. And we're going to reference that back once again. You know what I'm saying? And that is inconsistency in your faithfulness is what keeps the cycle going. And that's been our common theme as we've been going through. And that's one of the main points that I've been making. But again, what's causing that inconsistency? The lack of loyalty. See, they didn't say God was loyal to them. He rescued them out of every time they called out to him, every time they humbled themselves and they called out to him, he was loyal and he rescued them. He sent somebody to rescue them. Just like with Gideon, we went over these last 4 weeks, we've been talking about Gideon. He sent Gideon to rescue them. And throughout the lifetime of Gideon, they stayed loyal to God. But what did it say? It said, as soon as Gideon was dead. It didn't say a little bit down the road. It didn't say that, a year or so later, they eventually backslid. It said as soon as Gideon was dead, the Israelites prostituted themselves by worshiping the images of Baal. So what did it say? They wasn't loyal. They wasn't loyal to the things of God. And that's why they kept on going through this vicious cycle. They wasn't loyal to the things of God. And watch what happened. The next thing it says, for they forgot the Lord their God, who had rescued them from all their enemies surrounding them. Nor did they show any loyalty. And this is what, like I said, prompted this between this and this statement that Patrick had put on his page the other day. It said, nor did they show any loyalty to the family of Jeroboam, that is Gideon, despite all the good he had done. And once again, that's a reference back to another point that we made in the last lesson. Point number 41 in the last lesson was some of the very people that you are working to help won't even value your efforts. You know what I'm saying? You will be loyal to them, but they won't be loyal to you. And that'll happen. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we can't let that make us weary, especially as Christian people. We can't let that make us weary and well doing. But you got to know it happens. You'll be loyal to them. And again, we look at the God with the Israelites. This whole book of Judges is about that, a lack of loyalty. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is loyal to them. He rescued them from the enemy when they've been oppressed. He rescued them from the enemies when they cry out to him. He rescued them. He's there for them. He sent them a judge, but they never stay loyal to him. Soon as that judge is gone, dies and pass on, they go right back to their same old ways because they're not staying loyal. You know what I'm saying? And the things that they are loyalty is misplaced loyalty, and it leads them down the path of destruction. So that's, like I said, that's going to be the segue into the lesson here tonight. Get one more sip of my tea. Hold on, burn my tongue. I can't believe she made this hard and put it in the pink cup. She just really making her a statement tonight. seem to have cooled down a little bit. So now let's jump into number 9 chapter 9. And again, that loyalty, thinking that last statement, not only did they not show loyalty to God, basically, it said, nor did they show any loyalty to the family of Jeroboam, that is Gideon, despite all the good he had done. So they didn't stay loyal to God, who had blessed them with this mighty blessing and brought them out of this oppression, or loyal to the person that God used to bring them out of the oppression. And I'm telling you, that happens to us preachers all the time. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to get into ministry, you got to understand it's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's why our ministry, some week in my lost sheep ministry, I might have 10, 15 people there. Very next week, we have a great lesson, a good old fashioned time. Very next week, I might have 2 or 3. Why? Because a lot of people are not loyal. I got some ones, I got about 3 or 4 that's been pretty loyal. You know, that just about every week they're there. You know what I'm saying? I can count on them being there. Unless something crazy happens in their day, they're there. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, I get a person, he come in 1 week, won't see him again. You know what I'm saying? I might get another person, is because they're not loyal. And those misplaced loyalties can get you in trouble. And that's what's going to happen here in this story. And like I said, we're going to go through half of the chapter tonight, and we're going to see the introduction. We're going to see them misplacing their loyalties, putting their loyalties in the wrong thing. And then the next lesson, we're going to see what happens because they put their loyalties in the wrong thing. So if y'all watch tonight, you definitely going to want to come back next week to see the exciting conclusion. So let's start over here in chapter 9, verse 1. The Lord tells us this. He says, so one day, Gideon's son, Abimelech, went to Shechem to visit his mother's brothers. He said to them and to the rest of his mother's family, ask the people of Shechem whether they want to be ruled by all 70 of Gideon's sons or by one man. And remember, here you go. This is his line. And remember, I am your own flesh and blood. So Abimelech's uncles spoke to all the people of Shechem on his behalf. And after listening to their proposal, they decided in favor of Abimelech, because he was their relative. So number 1, this is one of the most, and I'm glad it's number 1, because this is one of the most misplaced loyalties that I see. And this is one of the ones that does so much harm, but we don't realize it. Loyalty to family. Loyalty to family can be misplaced. Loyalty to family. And I see it so much, you know what I'm saying? I've seen people that they're so loyal to somebody because oh, that's family. Oh, that's family. I can't do my family like that. That's family. I can't do my family like that. And they're showing loyalty to this person in their family or to their family, and their family's not showing them no loyalty. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all heard my testimony. You know, I talk about my family a lot. And, you know, and I call them family because we're blood related, but in reality, that was the only reason why we were family, because we had blood. They didn't really do a lot of time. A lot of people in my family. Now I had some of my family that we was close to that really helped me out. But for the majority of my family, we was only family because we were blood related. It wasn't because they took care of me. It wasn't because they helped me along. It wasn't because they encouraged me. Matter of fact, a lot of time they actually held me back. That's why when I graduated from school, I had to leave Memphis. You know, I was gonna go all the way to Minnesota. That's how bad I want to get. That's how bad I want to get away from some people in my family. I want to go all the way to Minnesota to make sure that they didn't have no access to me. You know what I'm saying? But my grandmother who raised me and was loyal to me, she did actually like, look, you know, because I took care of my grandmother, and so she told me, she's like, look, I know you got to leave. She said, I understand you got to get out of Memphis. She said, but just could you go somewhere close enough to where if something happens, you can be here. And that's how actually I ended up in Nashville. I was actually on my way to the Concord, this private college in Minnesota called Concordia University in Minnesota. I was on my way there, and like a week before I got ready to leave, my grandmother came to me and she said that. She's like, you know, and I granted her request because of what she had done for me. My grandma did a lot. My grandma has done a lot for me being the man that I am today. She was the one that made me go to church every Sunday. She was the one that made sure I got up and went to school every day. She was the one that made sure I had everything I needed to be successful in school. She did that. Even though she was my grandma and not my mom, she did that. So when she asked me that, I was loyal to her. So I went far enough away to where I can get away from my people. They couldn't bother me. But at the same time, I'm close enough to where if I need to get down there, it's not a big thing. I can be in Memphis 2.5 hours, depending on how fast I drive. You know what I'm saying? So I'm far enough away where I ain't got to worry about my family coming by and bothering me all the time. But I am close enough to where I can get down if I need to. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we got to understand. A lot of time, you know, I know one of these saying we had in the hood, blood is thicker than water. You know what I'm saying? So we'll sit there and stay loyal to the very people that's hurting us, that's keeping us down, that's holding us back. And that's the weird thing between like black and white families. We'll do that. Black people will stay so loyal to a family member that even though that family member, maybe on drugs or whatever is pulling us down, we'll stay so loyal to it get to the point where they destroy the things that we have, us being loyal to them and they're not being loyal to us. And I've seen with white families, like they'll do everything they can to help you. But if you start going down the wrong path, they're not going to support you. They'll cut you off. I've seen it happen. I know several people and they, by every right, they was hard-headed. They was stealing from the family and, doing all kind of things. And they cut them off. Like, all right, you going to live like that? You going to do these things? Then we cut you off. You know what I'm saying? And they would do that. I've seen that happen. And that's what you got to be able to do, especially if you're going to be a Christian, especially if you're going to serve God. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I told y'all about. When you serve God, you got to be able to cut people off that's not good for you. You got to be able to get rid of those weights that so easily beset you. And it ain't always bad habits. Sometimes it can be bad people, being around the wrong people. If you look over in Matthew 4, when Jesus, after he had got baptized and he got his power and everything, and he went and started his ministry basically, he called, you remember James and John, they was on the boat fishing with their dad. They was at work, so they were commercial fishermen. So they were fishing with their dad. And Jesus called them and said, hey, come follow me. I'll make you, and Peter and Andrew as well. Come follow me and I'll make you fishermen of men. And what they do with James and John, like what Peter and Andrew said, they dropped their nets immediately and came and followed Jesus. So they left their job. They wasn't loyal to their job. They was more loyal to the things of God when God called them. But then if you look at it, when he called James and John, he said they left their father and the boat behind. So guess what? They left their dad behind because their dad was still trying to be concerned. Their dad didn't get the call. So he was more concerned with making his money. But when they got that call, they left because Jesus said, hey, I got something for you to do. Come follow me. And they left their dad behind. And it don't mean that he was a bad dad. It don't mean that he was a terrible person. But it does mean that had they not left him behind, they wouldn't have been able to live up to their full potential. They wouldn't be able to follow Jesus the way they should need to be follow Jesus. And they wouldn't be able to do all that great work that they had to do. We might not have had the book of John. Because we got, not only we got the Gospel of John, we got John, 1 John, 2 John, and 3 John. John was a major contributor to the gospel. Now, in fact, it said John was the one whom Jesus loved. And you looked at it, and now he said that in his own book. I don't know if he was tooting his own horn or not, but it says that the one whom Jesus loved. You know what I'm saying? They were talking about John. So had he not left, he might not have got to have that close relationship with the Lord to where he got to make that statement, the one whom Jesus loved. You see what I'm saying? So we got to understand, just because somebody's family, just because they're blood, don't mean they really are for you. Just because they blood don't mean you have to be loyal to them. If they're not loyal to you, you don't have to be loyal to them. And that's why, y'all know, I tell y'all all the time, I don't hang out as much as I used to. I don't have as many friends as I used to. I don't do a lot of stuff I used to because I realized those things was holding me back. Those people was holding me back. You know what I'm saying? And not that I'm better than them or anything like that. It's just that they wasn't good for me and they wasn't helping me accomplish the things that I was trying to come. If you're trying to have a close relationship with the Lord, you cannot be loyal to somebody that's not trying to have a close relationship with the Lord, because all they're going to do is pull you back to your same old ways. And you got to understand that you're not being an a-hole. You're not being snooty. You ain't got your nose up in the air. You just being wise. And God's wisdom say, what? Get rid of those things that so easily beset you. I read y'all that in the introduction in Hebrews 12:1. You just being wise. Me hanging around this person is not good for me. Me being with this person is not good for me. I got to leave this person alone. That don't mean you can't be there for that person. If that person needs something, it's fine. They reach out to you. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all before, y'all know I love my brother. I legally adopted my brother when he was 16 years old. But there came a point in my brother's life where he started going down the wrong path. He got into some stuff that was taking him down the wrong path. And had I stayed loyal to him, I would have went down that path with him. And, and it got to a point where he actually threatened my life and the life of my family. And when that happened, guess what? I had to cut him loose. As much as I loved him, raised him as my own son, you know what I'm saying? Legally adopted him when I was in college, barely taking care of myself. I adopted him to take care of him. But when he went down that path and started doing the things that I knew was going to take him down that path of destruction, I had to cut him loose. And I went for about 3 years. Me and my brother went for about 3 years where we didn't talk or communicate at all. You know what I'm saying? Again, I didn't completely close the door. I was actually talking to a friend of mine. He was having a problem with his brother. And he was like, man, what should I do? I'm like, look, I can understand you need to step away from him for a little while. I like, but just don't completely close the door. If he humbled himself and he come back to you and he extend the olive branch, so to speak, man, be willing to accept it. You know what I'm saying? Be willing to accept it and let him back in. He said, all right, man, I'll do that. And that's what I did with my brother. I cut him off. I got rid of him because at that moment where he was in his life and the things he wasn't doing, he wasn't good for me. He wasn't good for my family. He wasn't good for the things that I was trying to do. So I had to cut him off. You see what I'm saying? And again, my brother, me and him been together, I mean, since his whole life. I've been kind of his dad because y'all know my mom was on drugs. So I kind of had to raise him as my son his whole life. So I can't say, there's not too many men that even on the level of love that I have for my brother that I can say I have. You know what I'm saying? But when it came down to it, and when he was going that wrong way, even though he was my brother, I cut him off because he was going down the wrong place. He was going down the wrong path, doing the wrong thing. So I couldn't be committed to him just because, well, that's your brother. Yes, that's my brother, but I was being loyal to him, and at that time, he wasn't being loyal to me. So we had to part ways. And see, that's one of the main misplaced loyalties that I see. Oh, we family. And that's what we see here. Oh, you know, what he say? Ask the people of Shechem whether they want to be ruled by 70 of Gideon's sons or by one man. And remember, I am your own flesh and blood. You know, we family. I'm family. Don't forget I'm family. And what it say? Because he said after listening to their proposal, they decided in favor of Abimelech because he was their relative. The only reason why they was loyal to him is simply because they had blood in common. That was it. It wasn't because he was a good person. It wasn't because they thought he'd be a great leader. It wasn't because he had wisdom. It was simply because they was loyal to him simply because he was family. And see, that gets us in trouble a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because think about it, even though he was family, check this out. Watch what he says over here. If you go up to verses back in chapter 28, chapter 8, verses 29 through 31, it said, then Gideon, son of Joash, returned home. He had 70 sons, for he had many wives. But he also had a concubine in Shechem who bore him a son named Abimelech. So he wasn't even full blood. He was the son of Gideon's side chick. She wasn't even really his wife. She was his side chick. You know, back then, you know, if you ever, you know, they make a lot of think about, you know, side chicks and stuff these days. It seems to be very popular. People talk about on Facebook. So if you get into your Bible reading, and when you hear them say concubine, you don't understand what they talk about. That's the side chick. That's the biblical term for a side chick, a concubine. You know what I'm saying? Because you say he had many wives, but you notice that then he also had this concubine. That was his side. That was the girl that he was messing with outside of his wife and had this son. You know what I'm saying? So what that means is the other 70 sons that Gideon had was actually by his wives, which means they really had more right to be the ones that ruled than this Abimelech had. But again, because this misplaced loyalty, because these people felt that they should be loyal to Abimelech because he was actually their blood relative, because his mom was actually one of their blood relatives. They did this thing to where they decided to put their loyalty in him just simply because he was family, and it's going to end tragically because of that. And again, we're not going to get into it today, though I may make sure if you watch tonight, you come back next week, because we're going to see what's going to happen because they misplaced their loyalty. But misplaced loyalty in family can lead you down to destruction. It can put you on the wrong path if you're loyal to somebody just because they're family. And that's what's happening here. Just simply fact, because he was their blood relative, they're going to be led. Not that he had the right to lead them. Not that he has the wisdom to lead them. Not because he had the heart to lead them. Simply because he was their family. They placed their loyalty in him. And it's going to end tragically. Matter of fact, watch this next line. Guess what happened? So it says, so because he was their relative, they placed their loyalty in him. So he said, so they gave him 70 silver coins from the temple of Baal Breath, which he used to hire some soldiers who agreed to follow him. So number two is where else do we see a misplaced loyalty? Loyalty, number two is this. Loyalty to God can be misplaced. Loyalty to God to be misplaced. Now, hold on, and I know you might be thinking, like, man, you sit here and talk about having a close relationship with God. How are you going to say loyalty to God can be misplaced? How can loyalty to God be misplaced? It can be misplaced if you put your loyalty in the wrong God. That's why it can be misplaced. Because a lot of people put their loyalty in God, but they put their loyalty into the wrong God. You see what I'm saying? You got Jehovah's Witness. They put their loyalty into Jesus, but they believe Jesus is the Michael the Archangel. They don't believe he's God. That's misplaced loyalty. You know what I'm saying? You look at the Mormon. They put their loyalty in Jesus as well, but they don't believe that Jesus was God. They believe he was a creation of God. They believe he was the brother of Lucifer. Therefore, their loyalty is misplaced. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, even a lot of people don't know this, but even Muslims believe in Jesus. Even Muslims believe in Jesus, but they don't believe that Jesus was God. They believe that he was a prophet. You see what I'm saying? So when you put your loyalty in God, it can be misplaced if it's the wrong God. Why am I saying that? And I'm going to tell you, John, again, matter of fact, I was talking about John earlier, and here he comes up again. John, if you go over to John chapter 8, verse 24, you got to go, I'm going to read it. But watch what John chapter 8, verse 24 says this. This is what he says about putting your loyalty in the wrong God. In John chapter 8, verse 24, he says this. He says, then he said to them, I'm going to start at 23 and 24. He said, then he said to them, you are from below, I am from above. You are of this world, and I am not. That is why I said that you will die in your sins, for unless you believe that I am him. So I want y'all to get that. He said, this is why I said that you would die in your sins. For unless you believe that I am him, that I am who I say I am, you will die in your sins. Actually, I'm going to read the King James Version. I like the King James Version better. He said, I said therefore to you that ye should die in your sins. For if you believe not that I am he, ye shall die in your sins. I like the way they word that a little bit better. He said, so what Jesus said, unless you believe that I am he, in other words, unless you believe that I am God, and you put your faith and trust in me, you show me your loyalty, guess what? You still gonna die you still gonna die in your sins. And if you die in your sins, then where you gotta go? You gotta go to hell. And that's what Jesus is saying right there. If you don't place your loyalty in the right God, if you don't place your loyalty in me, if you don't believe that I am he, and place your faith in your loyalty in me, then you're still gonna die and go to hell, because you're still gonna die and go in your sins. So yes, placing your loyalty as God is a good thing, but you got to make sure it's the right God. And what did it say? Where was their loyalty at? It said they gave, and it shows you why they was able to go this path. Because I forgot to mention before we start, this is empathy. This is y'all know we're going through the vicious cycle, and of course we know we got humbleness, blessings, apathy, and destruction. And this is apathy right here. So this is kind of a story of apathy. This is them looking at them while they in apathy. And when they're apathetic, you'll do silly things like this. And that's why they're doing this, because they're apathetic, because they've gotten away from God. They forgot God. We saw that in the last paragraph of chapter 8. They've forgotten God. So they're in apathy. And that's why they're doing it. And that's why they gave him money. It said they gave him 70 silver coin from the temple of bare breath. So in order for them to get them coin from this temple, that means they're worshiping the wrong God. They have their loyalty in the wrong God. They have their loyalty in Baal right now instead of having their loyalty in Jehovah God. And that's why they doing what they doing. And watch what's going to happen next because of this. He said, so he said they gave him 77 cords from the temple of Baal breath, which he used to hire some soldiers who agreed to follow him. So watch what happened. Now, this is what happened when you have misplaced loyalties, especially when it's in you misplace your loyalty in family and you misplace your loyalty in the wrong God. So in verse 5 it says, get this, and this is tragic. It says, so he took the soldiers to his father's home in Ophrah, and there on one stone they killed all 70 of his half brothers, but the youngest brother Jotham escaped and hid. What happened there? What happened there? Because their loyalty is misplaced, because they believing in the wrong God, believing in the wrong person, because his family, they just did this tragic thing. They just went and killed all 7 of this man's sons. The very guy that risked his life to rescue them when they was being oppressed by the Midianites, they went and they repaid him by killing all 70 of his sons and making the one son that's really not his son, really not his full-blood son, making him their leader. See, those are the kind of things that happen when you have misplaced loyalty. So with that statement there, there's 2 things, 2 points I see, 2 places of misplaced loyalty that I see there with that statement. Let me get some more tea. It ain't as hot now. I can sip it a little bit more. So It's two loyalties that I see there that come from them where they loyal. Two things I see that their loyalty is misplaced in. Number three is this. Number one was loyalty to the family can be misplaced. Number two, loyalty to God can be misplaced if it's you choose the wrong one. Number three is this. Loyalty to a certain people or culture can be misplaced. What am I saying there? How did I get that from there? Loyalty to a certain people or culture can be misplaced. What am I saying there? When we look at, and I kind of mentioned earlier, when you look at racism, that's what racism is. You know what I'm saying? We know it's a big issue right now, especially with the cop killings and all that. That's a big issue right now. And it's always, of course, in this country, that's one of the biggest misplaced loyalties in this country. People being loyal, instead of us being loyal to each other, we being loyal to certain people or certain cultures. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the biggest issues, one of the biggest misplaced loyalties that I see when I think about America. Now, I'm loyal to in a certain people or a certain culture. Because we got to understand, if we really believe the word of God, if we really believe what it says over in Genesis, then guess what? We're all brothers and sisters. We're all brothers and sisters. So when you out there, you know what I'm saying, of course, back in the old Jim Crow days, when you had the Ku Klux Klan running the muck and all that, and they was, hanging black people and killing black people, guess what? They was killing their own brothers. They was killing their own brothers because we all of the same people. You know what I'm saying? They was killing their own brothers when they did that. And when you got these days, we got the race riots and things of that nature, and you got black people, y'all remember back when the whole Rodney King thing happened, and they, had the blacks and Mexicans was like, beating up white people in the middle of the street. They was beating up and destroying their own people, their own brothers. You see what I'm saying? Because we got to understand, we all come from the same source. We all have the same Father. Therefore, we all, just because our skin is different, don't mean that we are different. We're all the same underneath. We all come from the same source. We all have the same God. And that's what we got to realize. We're all brothers. You know what I'm saying? And this dude killed his brother because, they're only my half brothers. They're not my real brother. But we got the same dad, but different moms. So that justified him feeling that he had a right to take their life because they wasn't the exact same. And that's what racism is. You got black people that hate white people because they're white. You got white people that hate black people because they're white. You got, Asians, like even within the Asian nation, they hate different variations of Asian. They all Asian, but one may be Philippine, one may be Japanese, and so they're all Asian, but they look down on each other. That's a problem. That's misplaced loyalty because we're more loyal to our certain people or culture than we are to just the things of God and our brothers and sisters of God. And the reason why I brought that up, because there's some I've seen, especially in the black community. Y'all know me. I'm from North Memphis. I'm from Memphis. I'm from the project. I'm not from, Germantown. Because a lot of people get it misconstrued. And because I'm a chemist, and because I stay, in Waverly and I love it out here, and because I listen to country music and, listen to rock and roll and things like that, they'll say that, oh man, you white. Matter of fact, my kids, and they just joking and they mess with me all the time. They like, you the whitest black dude I know. You know what I'm saying? When in reality, if you look at my life and how I grew up, I had a harder life and I went through more harsh things than most of the guys that I grew up with in North Memphis. Because my mom was on crack and my dad was on crack. You know what I'm saying? I had anything. If there was a list of that determined your blackness, you know what I'm saying, because of where you was raised and what you went through, I guarantee you, if there was a 13-point list, I would have at least 12 of the 13 from the way I was born. But because I grew up and I grew out of that, and I had enough wisdom to see, hey, I don't have to be loyal to being black. And that's what some of us do. We're so loyal to being black that we reject anything else if it's not black. If the black community don't accept it, if it's not something that black people do, then I can't do it. Because if I do it, then I'm not black. And that's so ignorant. It's so ignorant that we have that mindset because we're being more loyal to a culture than we are to our actual people. Because if you're really trying to be black, you would go and help, go back to your community and teach others. And that's what I want to do. That's why I do these lessons. Because I have several black friends on here, several people from my own neighborhoods on here. And I hope they get this. We got to grow out of that. That's the only reason why I'm successful today, because I grew out of that mentality. I stopped trying to be black. And I'm telling y'all something. I'm not just saying this to miss everybody. I'm saying it because this is something I have done personally. You know what I'm saying? I was so North Memphis, so worried about being North Memphis, so worried about being hood, that I have looked down on other people that I felt wasn't black enough. I've done that myself. So I'm pointing the finger at myself as no more than I'm pointing at others. And matter of fact, I remember the situation when I first started working as a chemist. I worked this lab called Test America. And, of course, I was still, and of course, when I left Memphis, I went to CSU, which happened to be a black school. So I was still around black people all the time. But of course, there was a few white people there, but I was mostly around black people all the time. And, when I first got to a point where I was around black or white people on a regular basis was when I got this job in Test America. You know what I'm saying? But I was still like, man, I'm, hood, this and that. Yeah, I'm a chemist, but I'm still Big John, I'm still hood. And I never forget, there was this young kid that started working there. His name was Lauren. And he was a black guy. But man, he's this, and I guess you can say he was sheltered. Honestly, I might say sheltered or whatever, but really what it boils down to, his parents brought him up the right way. Very intelligent young man. You know what I'm saying? He was like 18 years old, still a virgin. You know what I'm saying? Had never even really been with a girl. He was on his way to med school, which I hope I lost contact with him, but I hope he still made it to med school. Just a really good kid. You know what I'm saying? But when I first met him, I remember me and my boy, we like, man, this is the whitest black dude we ever met, because he listened to like rock and roll and country and all that stuff. And that was before I got into country. I opened my mind up and got into country. You know what I'm saying? And we used to just clown him because we felt that he was white. But then and that's because he worked in another department. And then he ended up rotating to my department. And I actually got to work with the kid. Man, great kid. Great kid. Matter of fact, I remember saying, because that was about the time I had my first few boys. And I remember saying, man, I hope my boys grow up and be like this kid. He was motivated. He was smart. Like I said, he was on his way to med school, stayed out of trouble, did what his parents said. I hope my boys grow up and be just like this dude. And I think as punishment for me clowning this guy the way I was, my boys was nothing like them. They was hard-headed as heck. They did good kids overall, but not like what this kid was, you know what I'm saying? But I look back on that and I'm like, man, how ignorant was I saying this kid wasn't black because he didn't do things that black people did, because he didn't have braids, because he didn't have tattoos all over his face and neck, because he didn't walk with his pants sagged down, because he didn't talk with slang. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't black enough. And see, that's what I'm saying. That's what we do. And like I said, I see that so much. I don't know how it is in the white culture, but I know it's real bad in the black culture. If you don't fit the persona of being black, then you're not black enough. If you have the audacity to educate yourself or get some wisdom, you're not black enough. And we do that a lot. And because of that, we so stuck on being loyal to our culture that we came from. It often make us miss opportunities, but more importantly, it make us miss chances to have people that can truly be our brothers. Because when I look at my life and where I'm at now, honestly, and to keep it 100%, I had more white people that have helped me, that have did more for me, that helped me get to where I am now, than I had black people that have. And it's just, and it's a sad thing to say, but when I really look at the major moves that I was made, major help that I got, a lot of it was from white people and not black people. And that's why I'm able to get to where I am, because I've had black people. Because you think about, it's a subject in the Bible that deals with this. It's a story called the Good Samaritan. You know what I'm saying? And it talks about this Good Samaritan real quick. There was this Israelite guy. He basically got robbed and beat up and left for dead on the side of the road. You know what I'm saying? But he was an Israelite. So then, it says, along came a priest, one of the Levites, which was one of the preachers. He was one of the priests, and he was an Israelite priest. And he came, and when he saw the dude, it said he basically just went to the other side of the road. Didn't do nothing to try to help him. Then he said there was another Israelite came along. I'm misquoting the story because I'm just kind of giving you the basis of it. Another Israelite came along, saw this dude laying on the side of the road, half dead, and he didn't do nothing to help him. But then a Samaritan came along, which is some people that the Israelites didn't really get along with. But when he saw this Israelite man laying down on the side of the road, it said he took him up, put him on his own donkey, took him to a hotel, nursed him back to health, fed him, you know what I'm saying, bandaged his wounds and everything. And he eventually had to leave, but he told the hotel keeper, said, look, this is the money to cover his room. He said, and if he end up staying over any longer than this, than what I'm paying you for now, next time I come through here, I'm going to pay you whatever I owe you. See what I'm saying? So, and when you look at that, even though the Israelites was his blood relatives and the Samaritan wasn't, which one of those would really be considered his brother? The Samaritan would. He was the one that actually did something for him. He's the one that actually pulled him up out of the gutter. He was the one that actually bandaged his wounds. He was the one that actually put him in a position where he can heal himself and be successful. See what I'm saying? So when you so stuck on, I'm so white that I can't do anything for black, or I'm so black I can't do anything for white, you're really hurting yourself when you do that, because you're missing out on people that can be brothers. And like I said, I have several white people, white friends that I would consider brothers. You know what I'm saying? People that have really done a lot for me. I think back to the first time I really had a major interaction with a white person that really started, it was actually while I was in college, that changed my perception on how I had been taught about how I should perceive white people. The very first one, it was one of my professors at TSU. I never forget it. I had a situation where it was spring break and I had just started working my job. I never forget it. I think it was my sophomore year, but I was working and I was broke that week. And the spring break started on, basically you leave Friday and you get the whole next week off. But I didn't get my paycheck till Tuesday. We got paid on Tuesday. I worked in the Taco Bell and we got paid on Tuesdays. So I'll never forget, I was kind of hanging around campus. It was late Friday evening, and I just happened to come across my professor. It was this tall white man. His name was Tom Sawyer. I kid you not. And I come across my professor, and he was like, "John, what you still doing here?" I'm like, "Oh man," I said, "I got to stay here the weekend. I'm not going home." He said, "No." He's like, "What are you doing here? Why aren't you headed out for home yet?" I said, "Well, I got to stay the weekend here. I can't head out to Tuesday." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Well, that's when I get paid. I don't have the money right now to afford the gas to get home. Because, of course, I was a broke college student." And he said, "Man, that ain't fair." He said, "You're going to miss half of your spring break just because you ain't got money?" He said, "How much is your check going to be?" I said, "It'll be about $300. He said, "I tell you what." He said, "How about I give you $300 right now, and when you come back from spring break, after you get your check, you come back from spring break, and you cash the check, you just bring my $300 back." I didn't he was my professor, but we didn't have like a close relationship or nothing. I wasn't just like his teacher's pet kind of thing. I was just a dude in his class. But yet this man was willing to put enough trust in me to give me $300 out of his pocket so I can go and enjoy my trip. And that really made me start looking like, man, I'm looking at this thing wrong. Maybe I'm looking at this whole white black thing wrong. And I realized I had been misled, and I was placing my loyalty in the wrong culture. You know what I'm saying? In my culture, when really I was missing out on people that I could really have in my life that could be beneficial. And guess what? That same professor is the one that talked me into changing my major to be a chemist. He's really one of the reasons why I'm a chemist today. Because like I started off as a biology major, and then I switched over to PE and health. And he was actually a PE and health teacher. And I remember when he asked me toward the end of the semester, he said, "Man, why are you in this class? Why is this your major?" And I said, "Well, I just I want to be a coach and I want to be a teacher." He said, "Man, honestly," he said, "I think you're too talented." He said, "Don't get me wrong. He said, I'm a teacher myself, so I know it's going to sound weird." He said, "But I think you're selling yourself short by being a teacher." He said, "You have the intelligence to be something way more than this." He said, "You really should look and maybe change your major to something else." And and because of what he did for me, because the loyalty he showed me, I thought about it. And I was like, you know what? That's true. So I ended up changing my major to chemistry, and I ended up finishing out my career with my college career with a degree in chemistry because of this man. You know what I'm saying? Help me be the man that I am. That's why I'm here with this ministry, living in Waverly right now, doing New Johnsonville right now, doing this ministry I'm doing because of my chemistry degree. So you see what I'm saying? I could have missed out on all of that had I been just like, man, I'm not listening to this white dude. What did he know about my life or what I should be doing? You see what I'm saying? And we do that a lot. We show so much loyalty to our culture, to our certain people, that we miss out on wisdom and people that could be helping us improve our life. You know what I'm saying? I think about this another situation. Some white man did for me. When I first got up here, so I was in a lot of debt. Before I got this job that I have now, I had to file bankruptcy because I lost my main job, and I was out of a good job for about a year. So when I finally got this job, I was in so much debt that even though I was making a good bit of money, it was hard for me to keep up because I was so much debt. And the debt I was in, it wasn't good debt. I had a whole lot of high interest loans. I'm talking about loans, 30%, interest rate, 89% interest rate and things of that nature. So I was talking to this guy about it one day. He was real good with his finances, and I got to talking to him about it one day, and I was telling him my situation. And, he like, well, John, he said, whatever I can do, he said, you seem like a good dude, a good servant of God. He said, so whatever I can do to help you, I'll do. So we went, try to see if we can get along with it, because he had really good credit, and he was going to co-sign for me to get a loan from the bank. But the amount of, the amount of debt I had, the bank wouldn't cover. They were only want to give me, like, even with his signature, they only want to give me like $15,000, something like that. And at the time, I needed like $25,000 to completely wipe the debt, because I wanted to consolidate the debt, get a better interest rate, and consolidate the debt, get a better interest rate so I can pay it off a lot quicker. But I need about $25,000, and they only wanted to give me like $15,000. So this man told me, he said, look, I tell you what, I'll give you the $25,000. He said, I got some money stored up in my retirement fund. All it's doing is sitting in the bank drawing interest, and saying it can help you out a lot more. So this man that's close to retirement gave me $25,000 out of his retirement fund so I can get out of debt and I can better provide for my family. That was unheard. And at the time, I only knew this guy for about a year. It ain't like I had known him for a while now. We're a lot closer now. But at this time, I had only known him for a few months, maybe right at a year. And yet he made that decision to put that faith and trust in me. You see what I'm saying? Again, something that I never would have been able to accept had I stayed loyal to my culture and my people. You know what I'm saying? Another example, I got a buddy of mine. He's Lebanese or something like that, but his name is Danny Wilkerson. To this day, call him my brother, even though, of course, we completely different races. But when I was working, I had a job. I was working when I was in Nashville. I lived in Bellevue, but my job, it was way out toward it was on Stewart's Ferry Pike, which is kind of going toward what's that area called? Madison, Gallatin, somewhere up in there. I can't remember. But it was about 30, 40-minute drive. You know what I'm saying? And at one point, my car broke down, and I didn't have a way to get to work. Now, this guy, Danny, he actually stayed about 10 minutes down the road from the job, maybe 5-10 minutes down the road. He stayed on the same road as the job, just down a little bit. So in order for me, and him became really close. So in order not to, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I worked the third shift, so there wasn't any buses that ran that late at night for me to get to work. So I had no way to get to work. And this guy told me, he said, man, and me and him at the time, we were working different schedules. And he went to the supervisor, got the supervisor to put me and him on the same schedule so that he can come and take me to work. So even though he stayed 10 minutes down the road, he would leave out early, drive all the way to Bellevue, which is a 30-40-minute drive, to pick me up just to make sure I got to work so I can keep my job. And then we got off in the morning, took me back home. He did that for me so I can keep my job. That's loyalty. So again, that's more of a brother to me than anybody else. Another example, I got several. I got a friend of mine, his name is Goddard. I call him my brother to this day. You know what I'm saying? We've been hanging out since I can't even remember, at least 20 years. I call him my brother. I got a young lady named Jessica. She'll probably see this later on. She listens to my sermons from time to time again. Me and her have been through some of everything. We've been knowing each other over 20 years. We've seen, and so she knew me before I gave my life to God. Matter of fact, that's how I met her when I was in the drug business. And man, I've seen her and her lowest lows. She's seen me in my lowest lows. But guess what? We both have changed our lives up completely. We both become completely different people, and we both have a love for each other that'll never be broke. And she's again white girl. You know what I'm saying? But you know what her kids call me? Uncle John. You know what I'm saying? I call her my sister. If you look on her Facebook page, she'll say we know how they have relationships. Well, she got me down as brother, just like I got her down as sister. You see what I'm saying? Even though we completely different races. Why? Because we didn't stay loyal to our race or our certain people or our culture. You know what I'm saying? This is another guy, a Jewish guy. His name Big Aaron Bach. He's the only person I've ever met that called me Little John. Everybody else that I've ever met or known called me Big John. He's the only one that called me Little John. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? He's big enough to where I'm not going to fight him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to argue with him over it. But, you know what I'm saying? If you talk to him and they ask him about John, he said, oh yeah, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? And I dare you to argue with him over it. He's going to say, because like I said, he's a big fella. I'm not going to fight with him. He's way bigger than me. I'm not going to fight with him. You know what I'm saying? But he called me his brother. And he's a big white Jewish guy. Well, the Jewish guy, you know what I'm saying? White skin. So again, we got to get past this skin color. We have to get past our cultures and realize that we're missing out on a whole lot of love that we can have from a whole lot of people because we're so focused on staying loyal to our culture. We're so focused on staying loyal to being black. You know what I'm saying? That was something I had to deal, especially with me being the Kimberly. Like I said, that's something I have to deal with on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? People, and now I got to the point I don't care anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how hard it is for me to say this. You know what I'm saying? I used to love Taylor Swift. I never thought I'd listen to some Taylor Swift. But you know what I'm saying? My kids wasn't raised the way I was raised. They was raised mostly in the country. You know what I'm saying? So they listen to some of everything. They young. They listen to everything. So, you know, I have to listen to everything because I have to listen to what's a piece of them. You know what I'm saying? The good music. They can't listen to my old gangster rap stuff. You know what I'm saying? I want them to have that bad influence. So I had to listen to stuff, the good music, which she made good music. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how hard it is for me to say that. But I used to like Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? And there was so much music and so many things that I would have missed out on had I not realized that I was being loyal to the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The country music. I listen now, when I first started, moved up here, when I first started becoming Kimmy, only thing I listened to was like rap and R&B. Now I listen to everything. Everything. If it's a good song, if it got some good lyrics to it or some wisdom in it or sound good, I listen to it. I don't care what genre it's from. You know what I'm saying? That's why my kids like, man, you know, I'll be listening to my Pandora, and it's just, you know, it kind of shuffles. And that's what my kids mention. You the whitest black dude I know. You know what I'm saying? Because I listen to stuff that black people normally wouldn't listen to. I go to things that black people normally wouldn't go to. You know what I'm saying? I like things that black people, like they quote unquote, normally wouldn't like. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they're so loyal to that culture that you're missing out on a whole new world out there of things that we can be enjoying that we're not enjoying because we're so focused on being black. You know what I'm saying? So I know I kind of went on tangent there, but it's because that's one of the main things that I see that separates us. That's why we're so separated in this country right now. That's why this country is having these race wars, and you got police killing black people and black people killing cops and things like that, because we're so focused on being black, and we're so focused on staying loyal to our culture instead of being loyal to our brothers and sisters, that is dividing us, and it's taking us instead of taking us closer to God, it's taking us farther away from God, and instead of bringing us close to each other, it's taking us farther away from each other. And we need each other if we're going to be successful in this world. So that was number 3. And like I said, that was 2 points. So one thing I saw, like I said, number 3, loyalty to a certain people or culture can be misplaced. But also from that same statement, I see that loyalty to the wrong cause can be misplaced. You're loyal to the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? I was sitting here talking about the whole race thing and everything. You know what I'm saying? And people are like, oh man, you ain't Black Lives Matter, all that. No. I'm not in that, because you know, you got certain people with Black Lives Matter. You got some people with Antifa. You got some people, you know, you got the LGBT community. They got their own little thing. Excuse me, I'm sorry, and sipping on that tea. But you got all these different groups that I've got all these different objectives, and because they got different objectives, then they fighting against everybody else. They got beef with everybody else. I don't got time for that. That's the wrong cause. I'm a minister. I'm a pastor. That means all my time, my free time, dedicate time, because I don't know how much time I have. So anytime I do have, I should be doing, using that time to do the things of God. You know what I'm saying? To talk about the word of God. You know what I'm saying? To lead people to the Lord. That's where I should be in my time. I don't have time to be going out there marching in Black Lives Matter rallies. You know what I'm saying? Because that's time I can be put some lessons together. That's time I can be doing Bible study. That's time I can be spending with my kids. Those things are more important. You see what I'm saying? And you get people into this whole Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. Oh man, you ain't gonna. No, I'm not. I understand the concept of it. And you know what I'm saying? Their intentions might be good, but that's not what I'm here for. Because if Black Lives Matter, what about the white lives? What about the Mexican lives? What about the Chinese lives? You know what I'm saying? All lives matter. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just saying it does, especially when you're serving God. You know what I'm saying? My focus should not be on making black people, specifically black people, taking black people to another level or helping black people achieve. My focus as a servant of God should be on helping everybody get to another level, helping everybody achieve their potential, helping everybody understand the goodness and the grace that God has for them if they choose to be loyal to Him. That's what you got to understand. So when you get wrapped up in this Antifa mess, or you get wrapped up in this Black Lives Matter mess, or you get wrapped up in this LGBTQ mess and all these different groups, and you stick yourself to a group, then you don't realize you're not living up to your full potential, because now instead of being able to reach everybody, you can only reach a certain group. You see what I'm saying? And that's what happened. And I say, please, people don't take this the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Don't call me uncle, but I don't care. Uncle Tom, you can say whatever you want. But I believe that's what happened with Dr. Martin Luther King. Y'all have heard me say this before. Because we forget that, we call him Dr. Martin Luther King, but we forget before he was Dr. Martin Luther King, he was what? Reverend Martin Luther King. So his focus should have been on winning the souls of men. That's what Jesus came and died for, to seek and save those which are lost. So if you take on the mantle of being reverend, when you take that on the mantle of being an ordained minister, that should be your purpose. Now, don't get me wrong. Again, like I said, I am a direct beneficiary of the work that he did. You know what I'm saying, with his life. And what is he known for? He's known for fighting for black people. He's known for giving people equal rights. But as a minister, he should be more known for leading people to the Lord. He should be more known for doing the work of God than he was for doing the work he did for black people. And again, not that I don't appreciate it. I understand. But his loyalty as a man of God, his loyalty was in the wrong place. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you gave me an option, like, okay, I'll tell you what. You can either be free and completely free and equal here on this earth, or you can be, I'm putting the wrong way. What if somebody told me, all right, you got an option. You can be oppressed here on this earth, you know what I'm saying? They have to suffer under the thumb of white people for 100 years, however long years, 100 years, you know what I'm saying? And then go to heaven, or you can, you know what I'm saying, get from under that oppression, but then you die and go to hell. Which one you think, and live there for eternity, be in hell for eternity? Which one you think I'm going to choose? I'm going to choose the heaven. Yes, I got to deal with being under oppression down here, but it's only going to last for a little bit, whereas eternity is forever. So that's why I say his loyalty was misplaced. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he helped us get from under oppression here. Yes, so we can live a great life here. Yes, but if he didn't share the gospel, as much as he did sharing the friend, working on freeing the black people, then yeah, black people might end up free, but then they die and go to hell, or somewhere they got to live there for eternity. You know what I'm saying? And that's what Booker T. Washington made a statement. My pastor talks about this, and Booker T. Washington made this statement. He said, I'd rather be, and this was back in, of course, in Jim Crow days, when he was like, but he said, I'd rather be a black man in America than any other color man anywhere else. He said, because my God sees, and he was a faithful Christian man. He said, my God sees my struggle, and he sees what I go through to live this life, and he's going to award me accordingly. You see what I'm saying? So yes, he had his faith on the other side. Yes, I'm a black man. I'm an educated black man. So, he was really a threat back then. And yes, it's harsh for me to be successful and do these things that I really want to do. But God sees. So as long as I stay faithful from God, guess what? When I go through this door called death, I don't have to deal with that oppression no more. I don't have to deal with somebody that hold me back no more. I can be who God made me to be. And not only that, I get to enjoy a life and eternity in the presence of God. That's more important. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. You got to dedicate yourself to the right cause. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, Dr. Martin Luther King was stupid for doing it and nothing like that. That's not what I'm saying. So please don't take this and misquote me and take it the wrong way. But I am saying that his loyalties was in the wrong place as a man of God. Now, if he was just some other dude, some random dude that was a eloquent speaker, you know what I'm saying, and out there, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? You can spend your time. That's what you want to do. Run with it. You know what I'm saying? But if you are a man of God, your focus should be on doing the things of God. You know what I'm saying? And doing the things of God, God's business is the people business. So when you're doing the things of God, you can't just focus on making one particular group or one culture or one people lives better. You got to focus on making everybody better. You can't just focus on lifting up black people. You got to focus on lifting up everybody. And that's my goal. I want to lift up everybody. I want to live a life is going to have an influence on everybody. So I can't place my loyalty to Black Lives Matter or the Black Panthers back in the day and all these things, because if I do that, then I cut off a whole group of people that I could be helping, because I've decided to just focus on this one particular area, this one particular people. And that's what we got to realize, people. All these groups, these different groups that's making us hate each other and talk about each other, like I say, Antifa and Black Lives Matter, the LGBTQ and all it's doing is separating us, and it's leaving us, keeping us from having the ability to truly do the work that God has for us to do. It's really limiting our ability, and it's limiting our value, because we focus on a particular people instead of focusing on everybody. And that's what my ministry does. That's the lost sheep ministry. I say lost sheep. It ain't the lost black sheep. It ain't the lost white sheep. It's lost sheep, period. My goal is to help anybody that's struggling with their relationship with the Lord. Anybody, I don't care what color you are. I don't care what denomination you from. I don't care what's your economic status. Anybody that's having a hard time having a relationship with the Lord or trying to develop a relationship with the Lord, my goal is to help anybody in that situation to have that close relationship with the Lord. And if I go and I say, I'm just only doing Black Lives Matter stuff, or I'm only doing Antifa stuff, or I'm only doing LGBT stuff, if I fall into that trap, then I'm not going to really live up to my full potential, and I'm not going to really be able to truly do the work that the Lord has for me to do. So that's why you got to watch when you get into all these different causes. When you're so quick to follow one group or another group, you got to be careful with that, because you can be loyal to the wrong cause and you end up going down that path of destruction. And that's what these soldiers did. Why was these soldiers following Abimelech? Back to the lesson, how this relates to the lesson. You know what I'm saying? He said he took these soldiers and they went and killed all of his brothers. Why would you be loyal to something like that? Somebody that's doing something like that. They was loyal to the wrong cause. And because they were loyal to Abimelech, simply because he was their family, you know what I'm saying? They went out and they did this evil thing, and they killed 70 men that really was more righteous than his Abimelech character was. You know what I'm saying? Because they was loyal to the wrong people. They was loyal to the wrong culture. You see what I'm saying? They was loyal to the wrong cause. So you got to be careful when you getting caught up in your little groups. When you're getting caught up in your little, even as Christian, you got to be careful with that. Being loyal to the wrong denomination. You know what I'm saying? Being loyal to the wrong doctrine. You have to be careful there, because you get loyal to the wrong cause, it will lead you down a path that's going to lead to destruction. And like I said, that's what we're going to see in the next lesson. All these y'all seeing these loyalties, y'all seeing how they're misplacing their loyalties, and we're going to see the destruction going to come from these misplaced loyalties in the next lesson. So then after that, it says so the youngest brother escaped. It said, then the people of Shechem and Beth Milio called a meeting under the oak beside the pillar, and at Shechem, beside the pillar at Shechem, and they made Abimelech their king. I'm gonna get another sip of this tea. Yes, the night is warm now. So number 5 is this. So they called this guy. They called a meeting. Said, then the people of Shechem and Beth Milio called a meeting under the oak beside the pillar at Shechem and made Abimelech their king. So number 5 is this. Loyalty to your own will can be misplaced. Loyalty to your own will can be misplaced. What am I talking about? When you want to follow your will and do what you want to do instead of doing what God will have you to do, that's misplaced loyalty. Because you're loyal to yourself. Because 9 times out of 10, this is why it's so hard to follow the will of God. Because 9 times out of 10, the will of God is going to take you away from your will. To do the things that God wants you to do is going to take you away from doing the things that you want to do. That's why it's such a sacrifice. That's why Jesus, and actually going to come up here in a little bit later, that's why Jesus said, you got to put aside your own selfish ambition. If you're going to do the work of God, if you're going to truly do the work of God, you have to be able to put aside your own selfish ambitions. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of time the work of God is going to take you away from doing the work that you have that you want to do. It'll take you away from the things that you want to do. So loyalty to your own will can be misplaced instead of God's will. So how did I get that point from there? Again, if you're familiar with your Bible, if you understand Bible, you would know that at this point in time, God has not assigned Israel a king. Israel was never meant to have a king. Now he's going to eventually assign Israel a king a little bit later on, but at this point there is no king. You know what I'm saying? They started out, they had Moses. You remember they started out, they had Moses, then they had Joshua, and then after Joshua died, that's when that's where we at now. So the Lord never gave them a king to lead them. They was always supposed to be led by men of God who God had chose. That's who they were supposed to be led by. But guess what? These people that decided to what? Make this guy Abimelech their king simply because he was their family. See what I'm saying? So they placed their loyalty in their own will instead of God's will. That's why they worshiping this God of Baal breath, because they're not following God's will for their life. And you got to understand, if you place your loyalty in your own will instead of God's will, you're never going to be able to truly be successful. You're never going to be able to truly live up to your potential. You're never going to be able to truly do the things that the Lord has made for you to do. You're not going to be able to do those things because you're trying to live for yourself. And you're trying to do what you want to do instead of doing what God wants you to do. God hasn't given them an assignment of a king. Matter of fact, it's going to be toward the end of Judges. It's after Judges. It's going to be a little bit after Judges before God. It's going to be some years down the road before God finally give in and get them a king. And that's only because they went and begged them for one, because they wanted to be like the world instead of being the people of God that they were supposed to be. So God haven't assigned them to be a king. So if God haven't told them to make themselves a king, why are they making this guy here their king? Because they're more concerned with being loyal to their own will and doing what they want to do instead of doing the things that God wants them to do. Let me tell you, the only way you can truly be successful in this world is by living the will of God. If you're not doing what God has for you to do, if you're not going to places that God has for you to go, if you're not doing the thing that God has for you to do, you're not going to be successful. And I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how many friends you have. I don't care how many people that think you the coolest thing since sliced bread. If you're not in the will of God, you're not being successful. And again, I don't care. You come up with a cure for cancer. You know what I'm saying? But if it ain't in God's will, if you come up with that cure for cancer, yes, a lot of people will benefit from it. A lot of people with cancer would love to have that cure. But if that wasn't God's will for your life and you decided to do this thing instead of doing what God has for you to do, I don't care how much, how valuable you may be to this world, you're not valuable to God, and therefore you're not as successful as you could be. So again, all these things I'm trying to help you guys. If you look up there, I'm trying to help you see your loyalty. It's good to be loyal, but make sure your loyalty is in the right place, because that misplaced loyalty will make you lose value. We was talking about the other lesson with Gideon, knowing your worth. You know what I'm saying? When your loyalty is in there, you don't know your worth, you will place your loyalties in the wrong places, the wrong people, the wrong things, and the wrong situations, and it'll lead you down the path to destruction. And number 5, your loyalty to your own will can't be misplaced. And that's what happened here. So again, y'all, we're seeing where they're placing their loyalties into. So far, they placed their loyalty into Abimelech simply because he was family. They placed their loyalty into the wrong God. They were worshiping Baal breath. They placed their loyalty in certain people and certain culture. They killed Abimelech's brothers because they wasn't his full brothers. You see what I'm saying? They placed their loyalty in the wrong cause. We saw where the soldiers followed Abimelech to go kill all his brothers. And we see here where they placed their loyalty in their own will instead of the will of God. It wasn't in God's will for them to have a king at that moment. Again, eventually down the road, he's going to get them a king. But at this moment, it wasn't in God's will for them to have a king. So for them to go out and make a king of their own, to take it upon themselves to make themselves a king, that's them doing their will and not God's will. And again, it's going to lead to that very thing there, is that very misplaced loyalty is going to lead to their destruction. So then the next verse he says this, verse 7. It said, so when Jotham, and that's the one kid out of his 70 brothers that escaped, it said when Jotham heard about this, he climbed to the top of Mount Gerizim and shouted. Now he heard about, when he said he heard about this, he heard about them making Abimelech their king. And of course, again, this is a tribe of Israel. So they're not supposed to have a king. They're not supposed to have leaders outside the judges. So he said, when Jotham heard about this, he climbed to the top of the mountain of Mount Gerizim and shouted, listen to me, people of Shechem. Listen to me if you want God to listen to you. So number 6 is this. You know what I'm saying? He telling them, listen to me. I'm going to give y'all some wisdom. So if you want God to listen to me, we won't be God to listen to you, then y'all need to listen to me, because I'm going to give you some wisdom. So number 6 is this. Loyalty to the wrong influences can be misplaced. The wrong influence, because you see, right now these people are under influence in this Abimelech. You know what I'm saying? He's our cousin. You know what I'm saying? He's a brother. He's our blood. You know what I'm saying? Let's listen to him. Let's make him our king. When honestly, Jotham had more right to be, Jotham had more right to be, the leader of these people than, this Abimelech had. But see, they're placing their loyalty in the wrong place, in the wrong person. You know what I'm saying? They're placing their loyalty in the wrong influences. And we do that so much. That's why you can't watch a commercial without some celebrity endorsing it. You know what I'm saying? Why I always gotta have some kind of celebrity endorsement? Why? Because we put so much, we let them, these celebrities and these people, that are sometimes terrible people. You know what I'm saying? Some of these guys, these celebrities that we follow are terrible people, but we let them have more influence over our lives than men of God. That's why you see more celebrities in commercials. Have you ever seen a preacher in a commercial? Unless it was a commercial about church specifically. You've never seen some preacher somewhere in some commercial. You know why? Because they always got to use celebrity. They use the people that influence us. These entertainers. All they do is sing and play kids game all day. But yet, because they're popular, because they're known, we figure we should listen to them because they got a few dollars in the bank more than we do. You see what I'm saying? And that's the wrong thing to do. And that's what Jotham's saying. He was the right person. He was the one they should have been listening to. He was the one that they should have chose as leader. He's the one that really should have been the one leading his people in place of his father, because he was actually one of his he wasn't a bastard child, because that's what Abimelech was. He was the bastard child of Gideon. You know what I'm saying? Where he was Jotham was a natural born child, because he was the one that came from an actual relationship when Gideon's wife. You see what I'm saying? So if you're loyal to the wrong influence in your life, you can go in the wrong direction. And we do that so much. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I was talking, and I know y'all knows I said earlier, I used to like Taylor Swift, and I did. But here lately, she's gotten so political, you know what I'm saying? And she's really pushing the whole liberal agenda, the whole agenda of feminism, and the whole agenda of women can do better than men, and the whole homosexual agenda. A lot of her songs and her videos and stuff is pushing all this stuff now. So it got to the point I can't listen to it no more. You know what I'm saying? I should have been listening to it in first place because I lost my black card because of it. But it got to a point where I can't listen to it no more because she's pushing all these agendas. You see what I'm saying? She pushing all these agendas. So, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why she's able to do that, because we allow her, because she's this famous entertainer, to have this influence in our lives. And we got to stop doing that. You see them always asking some football player, some political player, who you going to vote for? Who you going to vote for? Who cares? These guys ain't political science majors. We letting the wrong people influence our lives. You know what I'm saying? And because we letting the wrong people influence our lives, we being loyal to these celebrities and, you know what I'm saying, these entertainers, and it's got our country going in the wrong direction. You see what I'm saying? That's why you think about a few years back, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was governor of California. Why? Simply because he was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everybody knew. He wasn't even a natural born citizen here. But he was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Everybody knew him, so he was able to win this race. Sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. I have to put my phone on the charger. I'm talking too much tonight. My battery about to die. But I was already set up for it. Put it on there so make sure it don't go out. Go out before I'm done. I'm almost done. I got 2 more points, so I'm almost there. But again, we see that happening. Y'all see it in America. Like I said, you can't have any commercials. They come out with some new product or what they gonna have? They gonna have some celebrity on there. Why do they have celebrities on there? Because they know the influence that celebrity can have over people. You know what I'm saying? Like the Jordans. You know what I'm saying? You look at the Air Jordans. Them shoes, they used to be like $100. Now they $200, $300. Depends on which ones you're getting. You know what I'm saying? And them shoes do the same thing. Them $200, $300 pair of shoes do the same darn thing that a $20 pair of shoes doing. But the $20 pair of shoes don't have Michael Jordan's name on it. So therefore, I'll go and pay an extra $200 for something that I really don't need, just because in fact it's been endorsed by Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan has so much influence because of who he was. You see what I'm saying? That's ignorant. And you know what I'm saying? And we do that, and we place our loyalty into these entertainers. We place our loyalty to these celebrities. And a lot of times, these people are not good people. These people are not the role models you should want your kids to have. You know what I'm saying? I never forget one time my kids came. I think I've told y'all this story before. But my son, he had an essay to write, and it was about like the most influential people in your life. And he, he wrote it. He was all excited, like, "Oh, Dad, I can't wait for you to read this." You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking, like, I worked 100 hours a week to provide for this kid. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that they never had to live in the hood or go through anything that I've ever had to go through. You know what I'm saying? Made sure that they were straight and they were safe. You know, so I'm thinking, he was so excited about it, it's gonna be about me. And you know what I'm saying? He get on there and it's about, and I read it, and it was about LeBron James. Man, I was so mad. I thought, like, man, I don't care about no LeBron James. Let LeBron James come and feed your butt next week. You know what I'm saying? And then when me hating on LeBron James, is LeBron James actually a pretty good dude from all I can tell. I don't know him personally, but from what I can tell, he's a pretty good dude. But that's the wrong influence. LeBron James just a basketball player. He shouldn't have that much influence in my kids' lives. You know what I'm saying? And these basketball players, these entertainers, these celebrities shouldn't have that much influence in our lives and the decision that we're making. And we should be making our decisions based on what some entertainers say. You know what I'm saying? But again, that goes to that misplaced loyalty. And that's what was going here. And that's what Jotham, he was calling out to him. He's like, hey, listen, if you want God to listen to you, you need to listen to me. Because right now, y'all are under the influence of the wrong person. This man, and he's gonna actually say it later. First of all, he's the child of a side chick, and secondly, he just had you kill 70 people that was more righteous than he is. Now, why are you listening to them? You know what I'm saying? And why are we listening to the wrong people and letting these people influence our decisions in our lives? That's because of misplaced loyalty. We put so much loyalty into the things of this world, so people that have the things of this world, we put our loyalty to them, when in reality, they really don't deserve that loyalty. And if we don't change that up and get our loyalty to going back to the right people, the men of God, then guess what's going to happen? We're going to end up staying down that path, going down the wrong way. You see what I'm saying? So that's what he told me. He said, listen to me, and watch, he gonna get on him. He gonna get on him. He'll say, once upon a time, so he said, listen to me if you want God to listen to you. He said, once upon a time, the trees decided to elect a king. So again, this is kind of how we do. You know what I'm saying? This is him showing them the influence of being on the wrong people. He said, once upon a time, the trees decided to elect a king. First, they said to the olive tree, be our king. But it refused, saying, should I quit producing the olive oil that blesses both God and people just to wave back and forth over the trees? See, what did the olive tree say to him? Look here, I got a greater purpose. My purpose, and my purpose is not to rule you, these people. My purpose is not to rule you trees. You know what I'm saying? My purpose is to make this olive oil that blesses God and people. You know what I'm saying? I got a higher calling on my life. I don't want this little petty thing. This is a less value me. If I stop doing what I'm doing to do this thing that you want me to do, I'm actually devaluing myself. See, the olive tree knew its value. Now they went to the right one. Obviously, the olive tree has a great value. You know what I'm saying? So they went to the right one, but he realized he had a greater purpose. He was loyal to his purpose that God gave him, and his purpose was to produce the oil that blesses both God and people. So he was like, "There go Pat. We were talking about you earlier, man. I'm doing this lesson and use the inspiration for the lesson. You weren't even in here, man." I tell you, some people, I'm just messing with you, bro. But it is a lesson that came off of me that you posted on your page. So I'm glad you're here, and hopefully you'll go back. I was talking about you earlier in the video. Hopefully you'll go back and watch the beginning. But I'm toward the end right now. I guess you're taking a nap again. But again, the olive tree knew it had a greater purpose. And it was loyal to the purpose that God gave it, which was producing the olives that make olive oil. And again, if you know your Bible, you know anytime somebody was anointed, they was anointed with olive oil. So olive oil, like, man, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to be, ruling y'all. I got better things to do. I'm doing something that's doing the thing that God made me to do. So then when that happened, when the olive tree rejected him, it says in verse 10, it says, so then they said to the fig tree, you be our king. But the fig tree also refused, saying, should I quit producing my sweet fruit just to wave back and forth over you trees? So again, he like, man, look, I got a greater purpose. I feed people. I got this sweet fruit that even Jesus himself ate. God himself, when God walked on, okay, I get it. All right, well, I apologize. I stopped messing. I apologize. I take that back. I told everybody I won't mess with you when you got in here. But again, the fig tree, it had a greater purpose. You know what I'm saying? It was loyal, and it was loyal to the purpose that God gave him to produce fruit that feed both God and men. You know what I'm saying? Because again, Jesus ate fig when he came down. And as a matter of fact, it was just one time, if you remember now, think about it. I didn't think about this just now. There was just one time when Jesus wanted some figs off a fig tree, and it wasn't there. And it said when Jesus saw that the figs went on there like it's supposed to, he cursed that tree. And he said the next day when they walked by, that tree had shriveled up and died. So you see, had the fig tree got off of his purpose so it can go and do what men want him to do, you know what I'm saying, go and do what the trees want him to do, then guess what? It would have disappointed God. You know what I'm saying? Then he said, I don't want to disappoint God. God made me to feed the men. You know what I'm saying? It made me to feed people, to make this sweet fruit. So I ain't got time to be, you know what I'm saying, waving back and forth, oh, y'all. I got a better thing to do. Something that's going to make me more valuable to not only to people, but to God himself. You see what I'm saying? So again, is the reason why the fig tree resisted or refused, because his loyalty again was in the right place. So then he went to then said so then they said to the grapevine. So they didn't give up. They said to the grapevine, "You be our king." But the grapevine replied, "Should I quit producing the wine that cheers both God and people just to wave back and forth over the trees?" So once again, the grapevine had a greater purpose. And it was loyal to the purpose that God had gave it. You know what I'm saying? To make wine. And again, of course, God don't drink wine, but you remember Jesus did drink wine, but it wasn't alcoholic wine. You know, they call grape juice wine in the Bible. If you know your Bible, you know that when they say wine, they're not always talking about liquor. Sometimes they just talking about grape juice. But again, so Jesus did drink that grape juice or whatnot. But again, this vine knew that it had a greater purpose. It says that I consider am I going to stop producing wine that cheers both God and people? In other words, it was loyal to the very reason, the very purpose that God had gave it. So these 3 times they went to these 3 different trees and these 3 different great plants said, no, I don't want to be here. I got a greater purpose. You know what I'm saying? I will have more value if I do this thing that God want me to do. I ain't got time to stop doing what God made me to do, to go do the things that you want me to do. So then what did they do? It says, so then all the trees finally turned to the thorn bush and said, "Come, you be our king." And the thorn bush replied, "If you truly want to make me your king, come and take shelter in my shade. Because if not, let fire come out from me and devour the cedars of Lebanon." So what they do? They went to a bush. What does a thorn bush do? It don't do nothing. It don't produce anything. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got there's thorns on rose bushes, but this ain't no rose bush. It's just a thorn bush. So its whole purpose is to sit there and cause problems. You know what I'm saying? You walk through a thorn bush, what's going to happen? Your leg's going to get cut up. Your arm going to get cut up. You're going to have stuff stuck out on your leg. So it's not even something that's worth you putting your time and effort to. It's definitely not something you being loyal to, but they was loyal to this thorn bush. And that's what Jotham is using this example to show them how they made this big mistake. So number 7 is this: loyalty to the wrong leaders can be misplaced. We get that a lot in this country. Especially we see that with this last election, what happened this last election. We get so focused, I'm a Democrat, so I can only vote Democrat, or I'm a Republican, I can only vote Republican. And really, a lot of times, we don't even know the issues. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about earlier how us as black people, a part of our culture, we do certain things. And that was something that I always know. If you were black, you voted Democrat. You know what I'm saying? I never knew the issues, like the people that was running. I never knew the issues, nor did I care about the issues. All I knew, he's Democrat, so I'm voting for him. You know what I'm saying? Not realizing that, especially now what I'm doing, me living the way I am now and doing the things that I'm doing now, not realizing that the Republicans actually had more in common with my way of thinking and my morals and my integrity than the Democrats did. But I never cared about any of that. I remember when Obama ran. I simply ran because he was black. That was it. I didn't know none of his policies. I didn't know none of his track record. I didn't know what he did before. You know what I'm saying? I don't know none of that stuff. All I knew is he was a black dude. I'm voting for him. So again, my loyalty was in the wrong place. I was so concerned with voting for a black person that I didn't make sure that I voted for the right person. I'm not saying he right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't my concern. I was more concerned with voting for a black person than I was concerned with voting for the right person. I don't remember who he ran against, Now, I remember, I think one year he ran against Hillary, and she was terrible anyway. I think he was better of the choices, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember, because that was a long time ago. But my point is, it didn't matter. At the time, I didn't care what his policies was. I didn't care nothing about what his track record was, what he had done before. Had he been in the position that he was in, the senator, wherever he was at, had he did a good job there. I wasn't concerned. It was the fact he's a black dude, I'm voting for him. You know what I'm saying? That's misplaced loyalty. And when we choose the wrong leaders, we're going to suffer. We see that from this last election. Now, I'm admit to y'all, again, I didn't support Trump. Like, I was not a Trump supporter during his first term. I was not a Trump supporter. Didn't like the guy. Feel he talks too much, run his mouth, too arrogant. I wasn't a big supporter of Trump. But we got Biden in here now. And I would tell you this, and this is a year in, almost a year in, we was way better when Trump was in office than what we are now with Biden in office. I can tell you that much. You know what I'm saying? And you can call me and set out or whatever. And you can see that, and especially with me being in the position I am with my job, me being a middle-class citizen, man, I mean, the crunch is on us. Since Biden been in and he's giving out all his money, I'm having to spend during $500 a week on groceries. You know what I'm saying? I'm having to pay way more to get less than what I was getting. I mean, it's so much stuff. Things have gotten so much worse because we were so concerned with getting Trump out of office because we didn't like him that we just took whatever that they offered, which was Biden, and not even knowing if he's going to be the right person or not. And look at all the positives this guy's put out, all the things he's done. And I've never seen a country decline. So when Trump was in there, work was abundant. You know what I'm saying? We was getting, gas was cheap because we was getting our own oil from our own place instead of getting it from Saudi Arabia. I mean, everything was so much better. Whether you like the guy or not. Sorry, I choked up there. See, I think this is my black is choking me up because I'm talking good about Trump. But I'm just saying, man, again, I'm a realist. You know what I'm saying? When that guy was in office, gas was better. You know what I'm saying? I got more bang for my buck. You know what I'm saying? And the prices of groceries have been outrageous. You know what I'm saying? It's been insane. And why? Because we were so concerned with getting Trump out because just the fact we didn't like him that we wasn't concerned with choosing the right person to replace him. Even if you didn't like him and you didn't think he was good, you know what I'm saying, good what he was doing, at least if you're going to replace him with somebody better than him that would did something better. And we didn't. We just put the dude we put in, man, it's horrible. I'm telling y'all, man, the policy you put out is horrible. So you got to make sure you choose the right leaders. And again, that goes back to what Joplin was saying. You know, look, y'all know what my dad did for y'all. Matter of fact, he's going to say in the next line, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. He said, but basically, y'all know what my dad did. He risked his life and everything, you know what I'm saying, to rescue y'all. And y'all can go and choose this dude? This dude who's the baby from Gideon's side chick? That's who y'all gonna choose? Excuse me, I'm sorry, drinking too much tea. But that's what he was saying there. So they put their loyalty to the wrong leaders. And when you put your loyalty in in your leaders, it can be misplaced if it's the wrong leader. So the loyalty to leaders can also be misplaced. And that's what's going on in our country right now. People were loyal to the wrong leader. And they put the wrong leader in there. You know what I'm saying? They put the wrong leader there. And look what we got. Look what we got going on. Hey, gas almost $4 a gallon. You know what I'm saying? Food that was a dollar, price of beef is insane. You know what I'm saying? Price of pork is insane. Why? Because we were choosing the wrong leaders. We didn't put our loyalty in the right place. And that's why I want to do this on Misplaced Loyalties. And again, this is just the introduction, and we seeing how they put their faith in the wrong loyalties. And we're going to see in the next lesson what's going to happen because of that. You know, and it's not going to be good. It's going to be bad. And in fact, the very one that they're going to put their loyalty in is the very one that's going to end up destroying them. That's the crazy part about it. So again, number 7, loyalty to the leaders can be misplaced if it's the wrong leader. So when you so focused on voting Democrat and Republican or whatever it is, and you're not checking out the issues, you're not checking out their platform, you don't know what their platform all about, then you putting your loyalty in the wrong place. Because I'm going to tell you something, nobody on this earth is completely Democratic. You know what I'm saying? And there's nobody on this earth that's completely Republican. There's some stuff that I'm conservative about that I agree with the Republicans on, and there's some stuff that I'm liberal about that I agree with the Democrats on. So nobody is truly Democrat or Republican. There's too much of it overlap. You see what I'm saying? So instead of just, oh, I'm going to vote for this person because I'm a Democrat, actually get out and see what their policies are. See what their morals are. See what things they believe in. You know what I'm saying? Because black people, and like I said, it's bad about black people. I've always known that if you black, you got to vote Democrat. But in reality, if you look at what we hold dear as black people, the things that we hold sacred, the Republicans are actually more in line with the things that we hold sacred than the Democrats are. And we don't even realize it. And we won't look at it and see it because they're Democrats. And it's simply that. Because they're Democrat, I don't care, even if they are more in line than what I'm talking about, they're Democrats, I'm not going to pay no attention to it. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to listen to it. And that's what keeps us going down the wrong road. This is why we can never get ahead, because we're constantly placing our loyalties into the wrong leaders. You know what I'm saying? And again, we seeing what happened because of that today. And we're going to see through this story what's going to happen because they placed their loyalty into Abimelech instead of placing their loyalty into the right person that they should have been ruling them. And matter of fact, Jotham, finish it up here because I went way over my time today, but this is just too good. Like I said, this is Pat. I appreciate the inspiration on this lesson, and God did it because it just fell right in line with what we were doing anyway. So number 16, it says, verse 16 said, make sure, and this is Jotham talking to them. He said, make sure you have acted honorably and in good faith by making Abimelech your king, and that you have done right by Gideon. So again, that's a reference back to number 5. They made Abimelech their king. That wasn't God's will for them to have the guys their king. They did it. So they showed loyalty to their own will instead of God's will. So he says, and basically this last paragraph, Jotham is going to pretty much summarize everything that I've been telling you. And he's going to say the same thing that I've been saying. So first he said, reference back to number 5, you know what I'm saying? They was loyal to, he said, are you sure you was loyal to your God's will or to your own will? So then he said, you've done right by Gideon and all of his descendants. Have you treated my father with the honor he deserves? For he fought for you and risked his life when he rescued you from the Midianites. But now you have revolted against my father and his descendant, killing his 70 sons on one stone. So again, that's a reference back to number 41 from our lesson. You know, some of the very people that you are working to help don't even value your efforts. So that's a reference back to that. That was number 41 from the previous lesson. You know, and that was the Jotham said, he risked his life for you, and look what you did to pay him back. You killed all his sons. There's also a reference back to number 3. Number 3 was loyalty to a certain people or culture can be misplaced. Again, they was loyal to him because he was our brother. You know, so he's our brother. They was loyal to him, and there was misplaced loyalty. That loyalty wasn't good. That loyalty wasn't in the right place. And it's also a reference back to number 7, choosing the wrong leaders. You know what I'm saying? They chose the wrong leader, and that was Jotham said. Did you choose the right leader? You know what I'm saying? Which they didn't, obviously. Did you choose the right reason for that leader? Did you only choose him because of the culture of the people? You know what I'm saying? And also, why didn't you show him loyalty when he gave his life and risked his life to help y'all out of being oppressed? So again, he just got on them and said everything that we had said. So then the next line he said, and you have chosen, and here you go, you have chosen this slave woman's son, Abimelech, to be your king just because he's your relative. So once again, this goes back to number 7. They only chose him because he was their relative. You know what I'm saying? So they chose the wrong leader. And then in number 1, loyal to the family. You know what I'm saying? They only chose him because he was family. And then again in number 5, they was only chose him because it was in their will instead of God's will. See what I'm saying? And number 7 again, it was they chose. So everything that we've been talking about, that's what they did, and he brought that to them. He said, you know what I'm saying? Y'all chose him only because he was family. Y'all chose him because you weren't loyal to God, and instead of doing what God wanted you to do, you did what you wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? You chose him for the wrong cause. You know what I'm saying? So everything that we've been going over, that's what he's getting on them about. So then he finished by saying this. He said, so if you have acted honorably and in good faith toward Gideon and his descendants, then may you find joy in Abimelech, and may he find joy in you. But if you have not acted in good faith, which you know they hadn't, he said, then may fire come out from Abimelech and devour the people of Shechem and Beth Milio, and may fire come out from the people of Shechem and Beth Milio and devour Abimelech. So again, if you have chosen the wrong cause, then may this backfire on you. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And y'all got to tune in next week to see. But that's exactly what's going to happen. So if you he said, basically, if y'all was loyal to the right cause, then may everything work out. I hope everything work out. I hope you're happy with your decision. He said, but if you chose the wrong cause, then I'm letting you know right now, everything is not going to work out and it's going to be bad for you. And that's exactly what's going to happen. And then the last line, which is my last point, and I'm going to finish with this because I'm way over today. In verse 21, he said, then Jotham escaped and lived in Beer because he was afraid of his brother Abimelech. So number 8 is this. It's another misplaced loyalty. And it's going to sound crazy, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to read to you why it is. Loyalty to your life, your own life, can be misplaced. Loyalty to your own life can be misplaced. Now, I know you think like, oh, John, what do you mean? I'm supposed to be loyal because I want to live. You know what I'm saying? And that's true. You should want to live. But loyalty to your own life can be misplaced. So what am I talking about here? If you go over to Matthew chapter 16. Matthew chapter 16, verses 21 through 28. I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. When I say loyalty to your own life can be a misplaced loyalty. This is Jesus talking. So don't forget this. This is Jesus talking. Now, this is right after, Peter made this proclamation about Jesus and how he was the Christ and he was the Son of God and he was the Christ. And of course, Jesus told him, hey, don't tell nobody. So then the very next verse, in verse 21, I'm reading Matthew chapter 16, verse 21. He said, from then on, Jesus began to tell his disciples plainly that he had to go to Jerusalem, and he told them what would happen to him there. He will suffer at the hands of the elders, the leaders, and the leading priests, and the teachers of religious law, and he will be killed, and he will be raised on the third day. But Peter took him aside and corrected him. Heaven forbid, Lord, he said, this will never happen to you. And then watch what Jesus said. Jesus turned to Peter and said, get away from me, Satan. He called him a devil when he said that. You know, and you would think that he'd be happy because Peter's like trying to protect his life. But watch what Jesus said. He said, get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap to me. You are seeing things merely from a human point of view and not from God's. Then Jesus said to the disciples, here you go. If any of you wants to be my follower, you must put aside your own selfish ambitions and shoulder your cross and follow me. And here you go. This is what I'm getting to. This is my point. He said, again, this is from Jesus. He said, if you try to keep your life for yourself, you will lose it. But if you give your life up for me, you will find it. And how do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul in the process? Is anything worth more than your soul? See what I'm saying? See, Jesus said, you got to get that life up. But some of us, we're so loyal to our lives and the way we've lived and the things that we know that we won't give up those things. And we're so loyal to those things that we won't be loyal to the thing that it keeps us from being loyal to the things of God. And that's what Jesus said. See, that's why he got on Peter, because Jesus knew from the beginning that he had to get his life up. You know what I'm saying? He was on down here for 33 years, and this whole 33 years, he lived knowing that, hey, I'm going to have to die someday. I have to die. It's not that I want to die. You know what I'm saying? That what Peter didn't understand. I don't want to die, Peter. I would love to stay here and teach y'all some more. I'd love to stay here and heal the people like I've been doing. But I have to, because if I don't, then I can't do the will that God sent me down here to do. I can't be salvation for you. I can't be that sacrifice for you. I got to sacrifice my life so that you can have the salvation. You see what I'm saying? And that's what Peter wanted to understand. That's why he said, you looking at things from a human perspective, not from a godly perspective. See, Jesus was focused on God because he had already gave up his life. He wasn't loyal to this life in this world. He was more loyal to the things of God. And that's what we got to do. If y'all want to get those resolutions, y'all want to be successful with those resolutions that you set for yourself, with this being the beginning of the year, then you got to change your loyalties. You cannot continue to be loyal to the same thing that you've been doing, the same thing that you did last year that got you in the position that you in this year. You can't do it. You got to change your loyalties and stop focusing on the things of this world and focus on the things of God. And that's what Jesus told. He said, if you try to be loyal to your life, you try to save your life. If you so worried about being a player, you know what I'm saying, you want to be a better man for your girl, but you're too worried about being a player. Because I ain't gonna lie to y'all, when you come from being a player and having a lot of women that going to just one, for a man, that's kind of rough. Because you feel kind of like weak. You know what I'm saying? Because when you with that one girl, then even when she take her, she on her she get on her little BS or whatever, or get her little mood, you just got to sit there and take it. But normally you just leave her alone and you go mess with another girl for a couple of days until she come her butt down. But now you just got to sit there and take it. And you like, man, it's so normal, man. I wouldn't put up this crap from this girl. You know what I'm saying? But now I got to because I'm trying to be a better man. You see what I'm saying? You can't be loyal to your girl if you're not loyal. You gotta have a change of heart. You can't be doing the same thing. You gotta change that. You see what I'm saying? But the most important, you're not gonna be loyal to God if you're still loyal to the things of this world. It's just not gonna happen. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta understand, man. When you try to save your life, you try to, again, live the life you used to live, be the big pimp you used to be, big player you used to be, big drug dealer you used to be, you know what I'm saying, the man that you used to be. We try to do all that. You try to stay more loyal to those things than being more loyal to the things that God is trying to make you into, the new man that God is trying to make you into, then you'll never be able to be successful. What did Paul say? What about, he said, that's where you put off the old man and become the new man. In other words, you step away from the old things that you used to do and give in to the new things that you used to do. That's how you become successful. But some of us, we're so content, we're so hell-bent on staying loyal to our old ways that we can never usher in the new ways and become that new successful person that we can be because we're following the Lord. So again, misplaced loyalties, when your loyalties are in the wrong place, it's going to devalue you, but more importantly, it's going to keep you from living up to your own potential. And that, if you don't see it before it's too late, it's going to lead you down the road to destruction, which is what's going to happen with them. And we go into the next lesson. So I told y'all, man, this is just the introduction. I went way 2 hours. This has been a long time since I went over 2 hours, and I apologize, but it was just so good. And it was just so important that I really wanted to get this in. And I hope that y'all will see what I'm talking about. See how these people misplace their loyalties. And then we come back next week, God willing, we're going to see what's going to happen. The destruction that's going to come about because their loyalties was in the wrong place. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. And hopefully y'all will join me back, God willing, next Monday. And we'll do part 2 of this lesson. So, of course, as always, any announcement, anything in particular you want me to talk about that I haven't yet, any lessons or stories I haven't covered, please reach out to me, inbox me, and let me know so I can work into my lesson plan. Keep sharing the videos, telling others about it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely want this ministry to grow. But again, that's my own selfish ambition. As long as the few people that's listening is getting something from it, then I'm fine with it. But, you know, I would like for this ministry to grow. So again, share the videos, tell people about it, tag them in it so we can continue to get this word out. I believe it'll help a lot of people if it gets out. And of course, you're watching this, you're not 100% sure that you're saved, not 100% sure that if you used to go to heaven, please reach out to me and let me know. And I will set some time aside to schedule some time with you to go over the gospel with you. And if you have any kind of spiritual question, anything about the Bible, anything that you heard me say in this lesson that you're not 100% sure about, you want to get some more clarification on, or anything of that nature, please reach out to me and let me know. And I will set up some time to talk with you and do my best to help you. And of course, go to my YouTube page. You want to catch my old sermons. I'm still 2 behind. I got the last 2. I haven't put the last 2 on there just yet. And the one from tonight, I'll try to do that by the end of this week. But you go to youtube.com, type it in just like that, a space between each one, and it'll take you to my channel, and you can see all my old sermons. And or it's just one that maybe your favorite one that I did a couple of weeks ago, and you want to re-see it without having to scroll all through my page, please do so. So again, I'm going to go ahead and pray and get out of here because I went way over my time tonight. But I do hope that it was this was helpful for y'all. I hope that you was able to get some blessings from it. And I hope that you were able to see, more importantly, open your eyes to start seeing where your loyalties lie. You know what I'm saying? And that was the whole point, the overall theme of this lesson. As we start as we start the year 2022, if you really want to be a successful year, especially with the bull crap we've had for these last 2 years, if you really want 2022 to be a successful year for you, then make sure your loyalties are in the right place. All right. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this lesson, man. Like I said, this been going like since I woke up this morning, and I knew this was going to be going over. Man, your spirit been working on me all day, so I knew it was going to preach. I hoped it would stay within an hour and a half, my hour and a half time limit. I went a little bit over today, but it's all right. Your spirit was moving me, and I just felt I need to say some things that I need to say. So I pray that these words that you gave me here will help others, Lord, as we start this new year. You know what I'm saying? Everybody make these resolutions. They want to be better people. They want to be better things. They want to be more successful. Well, help them to see the key to doing that is changing their loyalties, and give them the wisdom and give them the want to change their loyalties, put their loyalties in the right place, and realize that if their loyalties are in the wrong place, they will never have the success that they're hoping to have. They will never be able to accomplish the goals that they're setting for themselves. They'll never be able to accomplish those resolutions that they put forth as this year began. So I pray you just watch over us, Lord, and help us all open all of our eyes. If there's loyalties I got, misplaced loyalties that I have, please show them to me, Lord, so I can put my loyalties to the right place. Because all I want to do is honor and glorify your name and be your kingdom, Lord. Help me put my own life aside, my own selfish ambitions, and just do the work that you will have for me to do. I thank you for letting us gather here tonight. I pray these words will help those out there. I pray you continue to watch over all your servants as they get a heart to serve your purpose, your will. Those that are loyal to you, I pray you continue to be loyal to them and just give me a power, level, wisdom, or any problem may arise that may keep them from doing your work. Watch over my people tonight. Watch over your people, Lord, and just keep us all safe as we rest up tonight, and help us give us another day tomorrow so we may get up and honor and glorify your name once again. Thank you for all you've done and given. Thank you for this lesson. Thank you for your wonderful word. And more importantly, thank you for your salvation and your loyalty to us. We love you and thank you for everything. And I say this prayer in your wonderful son, in Jesus' name. Amen. So I love y'all, man. Again, I'm sorry for going over on the time, but it's just a lot here that I really want to discuss. God willing, y'all come back next Monday, 7 o'clock, same bat channel, same bat time, and we'll get to finish this lesson up, and we'll get to see what happens when you have those misplaced loyalties, what road and what path that it'll put you on when your loyalties are in the wrong place. So please be back with me, and if you're my Lost Sheep members and you're watching this, we will be meeting in person tomorrow night. I'll be back there to scoop you guys up the same time I normally do, or if you're driving in, we'll be at River Lake Baptist Church at 6 o'clock. But until then, I love you all. I'm always praying for you all, and I pray you all have a good rest of your night. Until we meet again, remember to always watch your back and pray. Peace.